What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller. Alongside, he only does everything, Colin Moriarty.
Hello.
What are you doing what are you only doing right now?
I'm trying to find this funny GIF,
Okay, good.
but I'll just look at it later.
No, I thought it was for the show. I didn't realize you were just trying to find it for yourself.
my own edification.
Next to Colin, of course, the pure one, Tim Geddes.
I'm happy.
You're happy? Why are you
Yeah.
happy? Uh-oh.
Got some Girl Scout cookies.
Oh,
look
you
at
got,
that.
you got crappy
Samoas.
ones. You got crappy ones.
No, they're good ones.
The new craze is the Savannah Smiles, the
I
lemon
don't
ones.
even know about. No,
The
I don't want this lemon
the
one.
lemon powdered ones.
People trying to
dynamite.
trade me them lemons for these.
It's
It's hard in the streets.
No, it isn't. It's not even. What street are you in?
Wait, are you talking about the lemons
Second.
that are powdered?
Yeah, you have them in your trunk.
These? No, I haven't had them yet. That's why.
Oh yeah, I buy them all the
So
time.
I bought them as a let's try these. Let's give
Sure.
someone new a shot.
Oh, by the way, this is the producer, Nick Scarpino.
Hey everyone. These, by the way,
Yeah, Samoa Joes.
Smojos,
Yeah.
samosas. What do they call them?
Samoa Joes.
They're called Samoa Joes.
They're called Samoans, aren't they?
Samosas.
Really?
Samoas.
Samoas. Samosas are.
Samoas, yeah.
Yeah, samosas are an Indian like empanada. Samoas
Yeah.
are very polarizing. It turns out.
Yeah.
As
I
I
like them.
learned
I like
today.
coconut. I was just giving Tim shit.
A lot of
And
people-
Samoa
People that
Joe's
don't
a
like it
wrestler.
are cocoa nuts.
Those.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for just tuning out right there. No, it turns out though, those are the number one Girl Scout cookie that people don't like.
You want ice?
Yeah, I'll have a little ice.
That they don't like?
They don't like. And I'm basing this off of having asked like 6 people today around the office when the Girl Scouts came in. And they came in like a horde. There was like 30 of them floating around the office for some reason today. But I was like, oh, I love these. I love the s'mores. And everyone's like, oh, those are disgusting. Disgusting. Thin Mint, number 1.
Oh yeah, everybody loves a Thin Mint.
Well, that's the thing. That people can only name 2, and that's Samoas and the
And
Thin
now
Mints.
Savannah Smiles. They're dynamite. Here's how it went down at IGN the other day. The Girl Scouts came in force today, right? However,
Hard.
earlier this week, some other guy who in the new tech bargains area, he set up a thing in the kitchen that was a picture of his daughter as a Girl Scout that said, if you want cookies, go to my dad's desk. And it was like whatever his name was in tech bargains. I went over there and I'm like, I will buy all the Savannah Smiles.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Because for a second, I thought it was like a Paul Walker, like, you know, when someone gets in a
A memorial? You thought it was somebody set up a memorial to their Girl Scout daughter.
I glanced by it and I thought, oh man, someone's like daughter must have.
Which do you want, bullet or do you want this?
Bullet, please. I guess I
Okay.
need it.
So I go over there and I'm like, I'll buy all the Savannah Smiles you have. And he's like, I only have this one box. And I'm like, I'll buy that. He's like, I can bring more from home tomorrow. And I said, all right, then you better just. And I'm like, how much are they? He's like, $5. I'm like, then I'll spend $20. And he's like, all right.
Thank you.
I'm like, all right. So you want bullet?
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine. Nobody cares. I remember when you were like, oh, I check out at work every day at 5 o'clock. And that's how I keep straight and I don't get grumpy.
I'm like a switch. I just flick it off. I don't know why your voice dropped like 40 decibels there.
I'm like, all right, give me $20 worth. He's like, all right, so I'll bring 3 boxes tomorrow to make a total of 20. I'm like, no, on top of the box I'm buying right now, I'll give you $20 tomorrow for 4 more boxes. And he's like, great. Never have I gone back there.
Never.
So he's lugged those back, and I up until this moment just realized that I still need to go give him $20
So when
and take the cookies. I don't have the cookies either.
When did Girl Scout cookies reach the $5 a box mark? Have they always been as
I don't know.
expensive?
I've been poor before. This is like the second year where I think I've been able to afford Girl Scout cookies. Like somebody shows up, and I'm like, oh, I have money for that.
Prior to like, you know, when I was younger, someone would bring a box of Girl Scout cookies, and it was like eating at one of the world's best restaurants. You just had to try something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't want to take too many. I don't want to seem like, you know, a slob. Let's partition them out. I'd have half a cookie. I'd give Tim half a cookie. But now we're all just
That's awesome.
got the YouTube money.
Oh, yeah.
No, we got that fat YouTube money.
Yeah,
we got
that
these
fat
nice
YouTube.
walls out of
that.
it.
Don't touch
Took
the walls.
2 years for
Don't
this
touch
box
the
of
walls.
cookies.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back in the game.
It's
There
fine.
he is. There
What's
is
up,
everyone.
everybody? This is the Game Over Greggy show. What happens is that once a week, 4 best friends gather around the table, each bringing a random topic of conversation that the others don't know about or sometimes do. We talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, we sell the show as an MP3, a high quality MP3, hit quality MP3,
quality.
hit quality, equality, high quality over here.
All right, it's a good show.
MP3
It's a good episode.
that you can get on Friday for $1 over at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com. Then on Monday over at YouTube.com/GameOverGreggy, GameOverGreggy.com for short. You can go watch the video. If you're watching it right now, you just saw Nick wander off like the wildebeest he is over there. He's checking all the audios as usual, and he's never happy. He's a perfectionist. He's the one who caught that the mic died in the middle of it last time around. So, who wants to go first? Colin.
you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember last time you went first. Tim always leads with
I don't
something.
like going first.
I got something about boobs. And we're like, all right.
I love boobs.
Everybody loves boobs.
Tim, have
Everybody-
have
does
you
everybody
had a
else?
topic
I
yet
think
that
so.
wasn't sexually fused?
All the time. I think I've only had like 2, maybe 3 that were sexually.
Infused.
It's
is
because
the
of his
word I
age.
meant.
It's because of his age.
Yeah.
He's
It's
a young
because
guy.
you're like
So
you're just
active.
going around the office and there's just so many young people all over the place and your bodies are all rubbing up against each
him and
other.
Alfredo.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got for me, Colin?
First is an aside, a sidebar. as
Oh,
they
good,
might
I like
call it in
that.
the
I'll
court
have
of
a
law.
Can I have a sidebar?
Do we have
with
to, do we have
the
to come in
defending
for the, do
attorney?
we have to come into you?
Yeah, approach the bench. Please. No, please don't. Actually,
Okay.
get away from me.
All right.
I sent you guys an important email correspondence yesterday
Okay.
with a very essential video to watch.
Mhm,
I'm curious what your thoughts about the video were.
If you remember, last week on the Game Over Greggy show, we talked about cartoons and theme songs and whatnots. Colin was talking about how he thought the G.I. Joe movie had the best opening of all time with them fighting around the Statue of Liberty. He finally remembered to send it to me. What I emailed you back on this thread. What immediately was mind-boggling to me is that I downloaded this song back in the day. I knew the song word for word because Cobra, fighting for freedom forever. Yeah,
It's a jam. It's
yeah,
a
I
jam.
know. I downloaded it in college because we would just get drunk to it while we played games. But I didn't realize it was from the movie or whatever. I'd never seen the movie. It was dope. If that had happened in the movie, I would have liked that quite a bit.
Yeah, but awesome, right? All the the Vipers are jump, like the ship goes in front of the moon, and then all the Vipers jump
Oh no!
parachute out of it.
I didn't watch the clip you sent me, but I
You know what
vividly
scene
remember.
for scene?
I know
the
exactly
Crimson
what you're talking
the Crimson Guard punches the camera.
about. By the way, I was I'm a little ashamed of myself that there was an overwhelming amount of people that came to your defense on the whole Firefly issue.
Yeah. Well, because you're wrong about Firefly.
I'm gonna concede that I misjudged Firefly. I still don't think he's the best, but I definitely don't think he's the worst. I think I went on record as saying I don't know who he is. He's a chump. And now like 50 people said you're out of your mind. Check this out. They sent me this. He looks cool. I'll give you that.
He's pretty high ranking in the Cobra organization too. I think he's like,
Well, no one knows.
you know,
who
it's
he
like
is.
Cobra Commander and Destro.
Yeah.
And then you have like on the side are kind of like Zartan and all those guys, but then you have Major Blood,
What about where's Baroness and all this?
Baroness.
She's up there.
Yeah,
She's
she's
gotta
up.
be up
She's up there. She's around where Destro is. You have you have Major Blood. You have Dr. Mindbender, and then somewhere in there comes Firefly and Storm Shadow,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See, Storm Shadow, I always thought was like
which is an amazing.
he was
Storm
high
Shadow.
up,
Yeah, he was. He's better.
but he was always like, I'll do my thing if I need to do my thing. I'll put my thing down. I'll come in. I'll put my thing down. But that's all you're getting. You know.
He was
I
in it
know
for
that
the
makes
money.
no sense. What I just said makes zero
It
sense.
makes sense. You know the people like that. They don't. They're there to do their job, but they're not going above and beyond.
No, he's not going. No.
He's not going
He's not
full
putting
raw
in the
dog
OT.
on it.
He's not
no,
putting in the OT.
No,
So
OT's
to answer your question, that clip blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I even said this last week. I think it was last week. I don't like G.I. Joe. I never liked G.I. Joe
'Cause they don't
I
have
love
enough-
Transformers.
They don't have enough Pokemon in it.
And yeah, but there was always the crossovers between them because the same people made them and all that stuff. And I hated those crossovers. I'm like, ugh, this is gonna suck. Those stupid GI Joes. And then I saw that. I'm like, this is just like Transformers. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
did
like-
you not watch G.I. Joe back in the day?
No, I disliked it.
Man, they
Great-
were like those two shows. You didn't either or
Yin and yang,
those
man.
two. They just
Yeah, I don't
went
know,
together
man.
like peanut butter
I-
and jelly.
I didn't like either. Didn't watch either.
It's because you were like this. When will they make a cool Ghostbusters cartoon?
They already did. It was called Real Ghostbusters.
and
It
then
was
they
amazing.
made
That's what I
the
was locked
first one
onto.
before that, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
and you were
because
like,
that was
this
that was
awesome.
a cash in. Let's get her on the copyright job, which I salute the people who did that because that's a brilliant idea.
They're in an island.
Can you
in
imagine if
Barbados
we were
now,
doing
living
that
it
right
up.
now? If some like huge movie was coming out, we're like, let's make a cartoon with the same name. I found a loophole.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
we'll
just
put
so-
a gorilla in it.
I'm so fascinated by your Ghostbusters is great. Like the movies were, the first two anyway were awesome. But what?
Ghostbusters was great. The movies, what the you're just gonna come down hard on the cartoon?
No, the games I played were not very good, and the cartoon was fine.
the
I
games.
watched it.
Oh wait, what about the 3D one? The one that like the real one, the Ghostbusters the video game that came out that
like
way.
in 08 or 09.
That was a good game.
But it's
Not
just
great.
so weird that that's like
Like I
your
said,
thing. Like
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters is your thing based on
They had a cool car. they had-
200 minutes of
Yeah.
canon, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought about this too. It's interesting to me.
G.I. Joe
I
had,
love it.
G.I. Joe had 12 years of toys and like 8 years of cartoons, like 24
The
episodes
real
a
Ghostbusters
season.
were on a long time though. They had a lot of cool toys too. The Firehouse, the Ecto One.
It's just a weird IP for me.
I'll
It's a
agree.
great show, like a great movie.
Sure,
Like, I
I'm
like
not-
it, but I'm
yeah,
just saying
yeah.
it's like that's the one you latch onto.
Yeah.
I understand Turtles,
Yeah.
Transformers, okay. Mask even. Mask is great.
You can understand Ghostbusters because it's just if you're a kid, it's just the belief of that you could do that. Those are just normal people doing that. G.I. Joes aren't no normal people. Ninja Turtles aren't no normal people.
You're trying to tell me Bazooka wasn't a normal person?
Yeah, he's no Egon Spengler. Ray had to mortgage the house he grew up in. He was born in that house.
So you got Duke. You got Flint.
Stop
you got
trying to bring it back
Hawk.
to G.I. Joes. We're having a moment with
Out
Ghostbusters.
of those three, who do you think had the coolest
Wait,
name?
Duke, Flint, and who?
Flint and General Hawk.
Hawk.
Was there a Falcon? I don't remember there being a Falcon.
Lieutenant Falcon, maybe?
Was there a Falcon?
Yeah, something.
Was there a Falcon?
Captain Falcon?
Let us know if there was a Falcon.
Falcon
I think
Punch!
that sounds right. I've seen him, but I don't know if I'm actually just seeing Flint.
I always thought Flint was the coolest.
Flint was because he had the little beret.
Yeah, but it wasn't
And-
like in like
Super
a
cool.
Yeah.
wuss way.
No. It was good. He was good.
He made
Like,
it.
Duke
Green
was
beret
awesome
one?
too. Hillary, our old editor in chief, used to always talk about the moment in the G.I. Joe movie when Serpentor stabs Duke. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
And he stabs him, and it was clear he was supposed to die, right?
Yeah.
But Duke is like one of the most popular.
Duke was
G.I.
the
Joes.
G.I. Joe. He was literally
And,
the G.I. Joe.
and so there's like this amazing dub, and I went back and listened to it, and he was right about this. Like he goes, he gets stabbed and whatever, and the Joes like come around, whatever, and he's like, Duke is in a coma. Like instead of like Duke was killed or Duke's dead. It's like Duke. It's like Duke
forming dead.
is in a coma. Yeah, and they brought him back. It's so good.
Tim, to just bring you up to speed, Duke was later reprised by Channing Tatum.
Yeah, big
Never saw it.
CT.
The film series.
Wasn't down for them.
Who I believe
And
was
was
in Red
supposed
Dawn.
to also die.
No.
He actually dies in the second movie. Spoilers.
Oh.
But
in the second live action movie.
Yeah, but he got so
cares?
popular
Channing
between
Tatum
the first one and the second one, they wrote
is
him
in a
in
coma.
more.
Yeah.
They're like Channing Tatum.
Flashbacks?
No, they
No,
just
they
wrote
rewrote the whole movie.
a lot
Cyborgs?
more
Yeah.
for the first act for him to be in. It was weird.
Wait, so what are you guys' thoughts on the Transformers movie?
The original ones?
Yes.
The cartoon?
The 84 one.
Oh. I didn't see
You
it.
mean
Awesome.
you got the stuff?
The touch.
What is it? You got the fire. That movie was awesome.
Yeah.
You got the stuff. You got
That
the
movie-
thaya. That's what I heard.
That movie was one of the first movies. It's one of the first movies where I was like, it taught me about death.
That was one of the first movies I cried at.
It tells me that one and Robotech, the series Robotech, which to this day I'll defend with my life. I love that series.
Robotech's awesome.
But two of the like Optimus Prime dying and spoilers, Roy Fokker dying in Robotech were like, I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
nothing's forever.
I
Everything's
mean, the
finite.
crazy thing about Transformers is
I literally had
You
I was
leave
a
the
child and I was
theater,
like
your
this.
mom's trying to hold your hand, you're like, nothing's forever.
I was like, no, leave me, woman, leave me.
But like,
I'm dead to the world.
not only does Optimus die, but they kill half the entire cast.
Yeah, they destroy everyone.
of the first 3 seasons of the show in the first 15 minutes of the movie and introduce a whole bunch of new toys. And that's awesome.
Well, they had to. It was Hasbro, man.
Yeah, for sure. But like, that's crazy. Like, they killed everybody. They killed Ironhide.
Not Ironhide.
Starscream.
Starscream dies in the best way ever, though.
He's my
that was
favorite.
one of the coolest deaths.
By the
ever.
way, Starscream,
Trash compactor.
best or greatest name
Best.
in any cartoon?
Yeah, Starscream's one of the
That's
Starscream's
a
the
really
best
good name.
Transformers name. I always when I was a little kid, there was a few pet ideas that I had I never got to execute because my cat's name was Chung Li, and I got a cat.
I have pet plans I need to execute.
In 1993,
go outside and play with the friends.
in 1993, my mom I got a cat for my birthday, and I named her Chung Li. And she lived until
get cat. Step 2, name it Chung Li.
and she lived until 2009, and I have an urn of her in my room. It was very sad. When she died.
Colin Moriarty. I love you.
But Starscream was one of the names I thought would be awesome for.
Starscream's a badass.
Porum and Palom were also names that I wanted to use. Porum and Palom are from Final Fantasy IV, and they're twin mages. One's a black mage and one's a white mage. And I always thought it'd be cool to get a white and a black cat and name them Porum and Palom. That's an aside, though, Greg. My main topic.
Your real topic. Here we go.
Has to do with. This is somewhat timely. I wish it was a little timelier, but it's timely enough.
Russia, the Olympics.
No.
Snow.
We talked about the Olympics, sir.
Sun.
No. Last week, Bill Nye, the science guy,
Ah.
had a
Oh,
debate
yeah.
with Ken Ham, who's a famous creationist who thinks the Earth is 6,000 years old for some reason. And I was fascinated. I was riveted by it. I watched the whole 2.5 hours of it. Then I went back and watched old Ken Ham ridiculous, commentaries and debates
Right.
and all these things. His post-game thing that he did afterwards where he was gloating that he thinks he won and all this shit. Anyway, I'm just curious if you guys heard or saw about this and what your opinion on creationism is in regards and versus evolution, Darwin's theory of evolution, which is
now walk us through the core concepts of creationism, because I don't want to misspeak on this. This is one of those polarizing issues where if you say the wrong thing, people come and just blast you.
So
educate me.
So creationism is a fundamentally Christian belief that takes Genesis, the book of Genesis, the first book in the Old Testament, as the creation record. Basically, the first few books of Genesis, the first few chapters of Genesis. The earth was made in, first there was void and water and the earth and the sun, and God did all this in 6 days.
On the seventh day he rested.
Right. And most people, I think, take this as, at the least, that, as something that's an analogy. That the days aren't real days and all this kind of stuff.
Epochs, right?
Right. Like
the right way to say that word?
I don't know what you're saying.
Right?
Epic?
Yeah.
EPOCH? Yes.
Is it epoch?
I don't know.
I've read it but never said it.
I never said anything.
So basically, these creationists take it literally, and using their own Bible math, basically have extrapolated that the Earth's about 6,000 years old. That there was a massive global flood, Noah's Ark, about 4,500 years ago.
Right.
That humans and dinosaurs lived at the same time. That the fossil record isn't definitive. That these things all happened.
The only reason why I would say that I would even come close to agreeing with creationism is because it allows for the theory that Land of the Lost could actually be a real thing. And I loved that show so much, not because I liked the show, but because I was terrified of the situation they were in, and I just desperately wanted to see them get home. That was it.
Man.
So that'll bring you to God.
That's all I got for that.
Okay.
No, I think that... I'm sorry, Greg. Were you going to talk? You took a breath there.
Yeah. Well, usually when you say that's all I got, I assume somebody's got to pick up the baton. You got some more in the tank? Let it out.
That's all I got.
Not falling for that again.
No, I think it's just so hard when people vehemently believe in something like creationism. It's so hard for me to understand how they can just blindly believe in that. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's a good way of putting it. Greg?
I agree with Nick. I mean, that was the thing, I always talk about, I went to Catholic school my entire existence till Mizzou. So that's 13 years of private school, religion class, masses, everything, the whole 9 yards. At no point in that did anyone for a second in science class go, excuse me, what about Genesis? Doesn't it, you read that story, you read the Bible, and you take away the lessons from it and apply them to your life and try to be a better person. That's what you'd like to do, right? And at no point in a religion class, which I, again, took for 13 years, did anyone say what you're learning in science isn't true. That's why it was so ridiculous to me. I remember when it started flaring up the first time, now quite a while ago, but I remember I was already out of high school. I was into college, maybe even out of college, when you first started really hearing about a creationist movement. And it was just at no point was that offered to me as I never learned both things and said, oh, they don't fit together. For me, they did fit together fine. You know what I mean? I didn't take the book of Genesis at its word, right? Again, I think that we've talked about it many times in these shows, right? That I think God in some ways started the universe, did all this. I don't understand how there's something from nothing. But at no point do I really think that it was all right, Adam, all right, Eve, go do your thing. You know what I mean? That those were real people. That there was evolution. You did evolve from this, or single cell organism and all these things and yada yada yada. That makes sense to me and so works within the framework of Christianity and the Bible and what they're talking about and religion. You know what I mean? So now to get to this point where there are people I feel who are saying this and not, when you're the fossil record does, God hid the dinosaur bones and did all this stuff, that's when it gets really weird. You know what I mean? I don't understand why you'd want, I'm not against it. You know what I mean? This is what you talk about in the conversation with Colin about religion, Ghosts episode, is the fact that, to you, religion across the board doesn't make any sense, right? And I think there's something to be said for that. When all the people always want to attack Scientology, it's again, let's turn the lens back around to Christianity or any, Judaism or anything. There's a lot of leaps of faith, you know what I mean? All of these things. I'm not going to sit here and say Scientologists have it completely wrong, but to ignore the evidence that we have of what has happened and act like that doesn't exist and that doesn't matter. That's a weird thing for me.
Yeah. Wait a minute. God hid dinosaurs?
That's sometimes the argument.
Wait, what?
It's
explain that.
If the Earth is only 6,000 years old, then all the evidence in the geological record that
the fossil record as you go deeper and deeper into the Earth,
over hundreds of millions of years,
yeah,
was all put there by God, or it's always been there, or it's happened much quicker, and we don't, what we think takes geologically millions of years took hundreds of years or something like that.
Right.
It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, by the way. Like, I think that there is good that organized religion does.
Sure.
There's a difference between what we're talking about, like hardcore people that believe in hardcore creationism, or versus people that subscribe to organized religion. I
these
think
aren't
organized
the
religion,
same thing.
Right. I think organized religion does a lot of good. But what I don't like, what I like about science, I should say, I'm not going to say what I don't like about religion. What I like about science is that science questions everything. That is the whole point of science, right? Even most things that they prove, they'll still say there's a varying doubt as to whether or not this is fact. Like, there's a lot of people say there is no such thing as scientific fact. It's just been proven so often that we just take it as fact, if that makes sense. Everything still has a degree of error in science, if that makes sense. And so that's what I like about science. That's why when people start talking about the world, it's okay for science to say, we don't know. We don't know what happened. We think there was a giant explosion that caused. We don't know what caused it. We don't know what was before it. This is the extent of our knowledge, but we're going to keep figuring it out. And that kind of taps into the human spirit. That's what we're here for. That's what makes us human. We question everything. We're curious. Sometimes We're curiosity.
Curious.
It's just when people get on any issue, when they get too binary, where it's either my way or the highway.
Right.
That's what I have a problem with. And most people will tell you, most people that are Catholic or Christian will tell you the Bible's not word for word. They don't believe word for word. Adam and Eve, a lot of people believe it. Some people will say, look, this is a metaphor. It's metaphorically speaking. It's a metaphor for good and evil, all that stuff.
For women screwing it all up for us.
Well, I mean, that's fact. You can see that even to this day.
We sure can.
Oh, there it is.
Some birds.
One ring.
Did women screw? I thought Adam took the fruit
No.
tree of knowledge.
Eve took it and gave it to him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's the
Oh,
scapegoat.
she took it. Oh, okay.
And gave it to him. She was like, check this out. I got this cherry for you.
It was an
You
apple.
want you
God.
want some of my cherry?
All right. Well, it was a good episode.
Wait, so I'm assuming my boy Bill was the one on the evolution side, right?
Yeah.
So how did that conversation go?
Did you say my boy Bill?
Bill?
No, he
My
did
boy
not say
Bill.
that.
This is the science guy.
Yeah, I did say that.
My boy Bill.
Did you really?
He said my boy Bill.
Okay. Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
he was. And the argument was frustrating to me because, the thing is, Ken Ham's not an idiot, and he actually presented really well, a lot better actually than Bill and I did in terms of his PowerPoint presentation and but it's because he has the way he progresses his argument is he has an answer for everything. He's prepared for every little thing that doesn't make any sense, and he has a way out of it. And basically, he just ignores all the evidence. The thing that frustrated me the most out of all the things that frustrated me in this argument he had was he was looking he's talking about space, right? And I was talking to Tim a little bit about this last week, but space is all history. What you're viewing is history, right? The sun's light when it leaves the sun left 11 minutes ago by the time it gets here, right? So you're looking at the sun 11 minutes ago when a light
If it did hit traffic.
Right, if it didn't hit traffic, very good. That's very good. So when light
That's where we're
reflects
at.
off of
Sorry
anything,
about
like
that,
a
everyone.
tree, you're looking at everything through light. You're actually seeing things from photons that left the sun 11 minutes ago, right?
Okay.
The moon 3 seconds ago.
What's happening?
Got some of that. Hold on.
The door's opening. We know what's
My
happening.
girlfriend, she got me new bourbon. Thank you.
Do you want to bring it in? You can
Just
bring it in.
shield your face from the camera. You've never been
You
shown
wanna
on
just
camera
hand
before.
it to me. You just hand it to me. No, wait. You have to come. It's good drop. You have to come.
All right, everybody.
All right.
So now we can narrow the search down to a white girl. Where in the world is Colin's girlfriend Cheryl?
And the thing that really
See,
bothered me
like
was
Carmen Sandiego.
Colin's girlfriend Cheryl. I get it. It's genius.
the thing that really bothered me. Just to go back to real quick, I'll finish up and then we'll move on.
No, we're having a great conversation.
It's just that
I still want to have something to ask you.
the stars are redshifting. Like, you can see that they're moving away. There's background cosmic radiation that is
Right.
the leftovers from the Big Bang. Like, there's all of this shit just in space. Look at the fucking moon. It's cratered with ancient asteroid collision.
Look at that fucking moon.
We saw the backside of the moon, which is even worse. The dark side of the moon is fucking way cratered. Like the surface of Mercury cratered. Like,
Right.
really bad, And it just, it annoys me that this guy just, propagates this pseudoscience that is just demonstrably false. And it's frustrating too, because the most fascinating thing I saw actually was I saw a debate with Ken Ham against Old World Creationists, which are creationists that accept that the Earth is giving us certain evidence that the Earth is really old. The Earth's 5 billion years old, and the universe is 13.6 billion years old, not 6,000. That's impossible. It's just fucking impossible, you know. And that was a really enlightening argument because there's these guys that are actually interpreting the Bible and being like, but Genesis. One guy was making an argument that Genesis isn't the only important thing because there's all of these other things in the Bible in the Old and New Testament that speak to creation, and you can't just ignore all of that because Genesis is what's convenient for you to listen to. That there's actually evidence that the Earth is millions or billions of years old in the Bible. And that, you know, a lot of these things might be analogies or stories, you know?
Yeah.
There's a great book I recommend everyone reading. I read in college. I took a few Bible classes in college. I was really fascinated by it. One of the books is aptly called Who Wrote the Bible? And it's about the Pentateuch specifically, which Greg will tell you is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And who wrote them. And they figured out who wrote these books based on how they were written and put together and all these things. So we know humans wrote them, and they're fallible. And they certainly weren't talking to Moses, and they certainly weren't on the Ark, which somehow had every fucking animal on it.
Except unicorns.
You know, except unicorns.
They got left off. Yeah. The Ark thing, right? I always like that's always a hang up for people, right? Of like, well, like that doesn't make any sense. And I agree. The whole world didn't flood. Maybe a section of their tiny world when they could barely understand the world flooded, and they did have it. Then he's like, yeah, I got a horse on there and a pig, and then, you know what I mean? Like then that story like gets bigger and bigger and crazier and crazier, and then why did he have this Ark? You know. There's a million things, but people are always like, "Oh, we're gonna find Noah's Ark," and it's like you're gonna find Noah's Ark, and it's gonna be tiny, and it's gonna not prove anything.
Remember that Tony Danza movie?
No.
About when he was the field goal kicker?
Don John?
No, the one where he did the Noah thing. He was Noah.
Tony Danza was Noah?
Yeah.
I did not see this movie.
It was awesome.
You're talking to a person who legitimately last night queued up all the Highlander movies onto his Netflix queue and started watching the second one first. I didn't even watch the first Highlander. I went right to the second one.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you. How do you get around this and the fact that people want it taught then? Do you because
No, it's so
because the argument is that, like Nick was saying, right, that Darwin's theory is a theory. You know what I mean? It isn't conclusive when a creationist is getting all when Mr. Ham is getting all up and at him. So this is the same way with the creationist theory as well, right?
I guess, but like this is what the point they were making, and I think this is an interesting point to make. That a theory in science has a definition that means that it is basically fact. Because the idea is the theory is testable and never fails, right? Like they were saying, like Isaac Newton's theory of gravity is a theory. You're never ever gonna see this box fall up, right? Like
maybe
there it is. Like everything
but it's still considered theory,
right? Exactly, because you can't see gravity. We just know it's there, you know,
right?
Because because everything points to it. Everything points to it. And what they were saying about evolution, which is fascinating, is that like whenever they find something that like they think is gonna fuck with the theory of evolution, it actually pans out. And the biggest thing that they discovered was genes, like the genome. One of the examples that they used in this great episode of Nova about what was going on in Dover, Pennsylvania, when they were fighting over creationism versus evolution in school, was they were talking about like different apes and monkeys and humans, and how if evolution was true, that they'd all have similar numbers of chromosomes in their genes. And they realized that humans actually had one less. Than like there was 24 of something in the genome for all the apes, and humans have 23. And they're like, this is it. This is actually going to destroy evolution because this is conclusively not true. Or otherwise, the humans would be similar to apes. What are you looking at?
Tony Danza Noah, 1998 film. I went and looked for images. This is the one I found. I wanted to show it to him. Little Tony Danza.
Okay, that's not Tony Danza from Noah.
That totally is Tony Danza.
I would remember that. No, I know that's Tony Danza, but that's definitely not him from the movie.
No, it's not from Noah.
Noah's
That's
Ark.
it. Everybody go Tony Danza Noah on your Google device.
As a side note,
Scroll down past all the Noah posters, and the fourth row has Tony Danza just in his boxing clothes getting sexy.
2 things. 1, Tony Danza still looks good for his age.
Yeah.
And 2, if you could go back and be either Tony Danza or Scott Baio, who would you be?
Tony Danza.
Colin?
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry.
Scott Baio or Tony Danza, who would you rather be?
I mean, you're going to look like that at one point. That's Tony Danza.
Come on
Tony
now.
Danza.
Tony Danza looked better from day one to day now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
no
go with Tony
offense
Danza.
to Mr. Baio.
Yeah, Baio's great too.
Yeah, I love Scott Baio.
I'm judging this completely on YouTube cameos they've made. Scott Baio did
going
one
Baio.
in a Terrence Southern video called Wrong Hole. And it's a song about him putting it in the wrong hole.
Yeah,
It's
Scott Baio
pretty
does that.
funny. But Tony Danza was in a Barats and Beretta video where they're in a car and Tiny Dancer by Elton John's playing. And they're all singing, "Hold me closer, Tony Danza."
Yeah.
A joke
And then-
they stole from Friends.
But then Tony Danza just looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, this is happening." And I loved that.
To be fair, I thought he was saying that
So he
since
wins.
like the mid '80s.
That's true, but Friends was the first person to actually make that joke on the air. I just want everyone to remember that horrible show.
Horrible show.
Go back and watch it. Doesn't hold up.
I
Yes, it
have
does.
gone back and watched
Seinfeld
it.
holds up. Friends does not.
Friends
is
was
not
always
bad.
bad. I mean, that's the thing. That Friends was
No.
always bad.
Friends is not bad.
I like
Friends holds up. I mean, it's at a level of humor it always was. Also, Rachel was hot.
Rachel was hot.
Yeah,
That's
Rachel
all you
was
care
really
about.
hot,
Courtney
no
Cox
doubt.
is hot too.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring it back to
Matt
Colin's original
LeBlanc.
question. Yeah, I. It's one of those things where when you're arguing with someone, like Tim argues with me sometimes, and sometimes
Spectacular Spider-Man's better, Nick. We're not talking about this,
Tim,
but move
it's
on.
Not better. Let's get past that. Ultimate Spider-Man's a better series. Done. Definitive. I sometimes make
I like
things
Spider-Man
up.
in the 90s.
I will sometimes make things up. The 90s Spider-Man is amazing.
Spider-Man, radioactive.
Trivia question for you. Who was that guitar player?
Aerosmith guy.
Wow, good
Yeah,
job.
Joe, somebody or other.
I always thought it was
Harry.
Slash growing up, but it wasn't.
So is that why you just said Slash?
I was gonna say Slash, yeah, but
You didn't. You weren't. You didn't. No. You didn't. You were gonna say. You said Slash. I very clearly heard you.
sometimes when guitar,
I wasn't in here.
Sometimes when I get to like awesome '80s rock songs, even irregardless of the fact that whether or not it's Guns N' Roses, I don't care. I just say Slash when the guitar.
Sometimes I
comes.
assign Billy Joel songs he didn't write to.
Billy Joel did a lot of songs though.
He did. Yeah, I know. That's why it gets confusing.
Can you believe he got
Talk shit about Billy Joel. I
Claudia
dare you.
Schiffer.
Claudia Schiffer?
Yeah.
Talk
Did
shit
he get
about.
Claudia?
Talented. He's a talented man.
He
That's all
married
it
her,
takes.
right? And then she was the Uptown Girl, right?
Yeah.
God, he was so good. I'm not gonna talk shit about Billy. No, I'm not talking shit about him.
Isn't it weird that we met Slash?
I
That's weird.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just
we
saying
did.
you talk shit about Billy Joel and
I'm getting that bottle over my head.
yeah.
Don't even cap it because
He's-
I'm not gonna say anything bad about
He's
it.
long.
Just
He's
put it-
Pride of Long Island.
He really is the pride of Long Island. He's the biggest thing that ever came from Long Island.
He's got his own
And-
banner.
and everyone loves him. Yeah,
Let
and
me
at
ask you
Nassau
this.
Coliseum where the Islanders play, there's just a banner and there's all of these like Stanley Cup banners and all these division win banners and all these like
Yeah.
retired numbers, and then just a banner that says Billy Joel.
That's awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
That's what I want at Mizzou Arena one day.
That's what they have. That's like the same they have in Canada, right? Where it's just like a bunch of hockey players no one's heard of, George St. Pierre, and then just Bieber, right?
Yep.
It just says "Welcome
Just
home,
says-
Bieber," right?
yeah.
Because they're deporting his ass. Are they still doing that?
They're not gonna deport him.
They're gonna deport
There's a
him.
conversation with Colin coming up about this that'll set you straight. You might have edited.
No, I didn't.
All right.
Actually, I did it at that. That's why I asked the question.
Ah.
Put the link here. Synergy.
Anyway, real quick,
It's not
I
even
just want
live
I
yet.
want to finish my ape story, and then we can move on.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
important.
Oh, the chromosomes.
23 and
critical.
24
It's critical.
genomes.
That I started 5 minutes ago. It's critical. They thought that this was going to disprove everything, right? And then they found out that 2 of the chromosomes fused. That
that's what made
like you
us.
could identify like there's the I'm not a scientist, believe it or not, but there's like definitive ends of of these strands and middles of the strands that they can identify under like microscopes. And they found that one of the ends of one of the strands was in the middle of another strand, and therefore they fused. So there were 23, right? And so like it's actually an evolution from apes, and that might be how we formed.
Interesting.
And so it actually proved the theory. And everything they find proves the theory, right? And the thing that Bill Nye kept bringing up was that you can't prove it. You can't prove it. In fact, everything says that you're wrong, and your science can't predict anything. Like you can't predict anything. The point he was making was, there's never, like in the fossil record under the layers, nothing ever crosses over. There's no like fossil A in strand A is never found in strand B.
Right.
And
The
fossil
the
B, like
arrows
never, ever. And he was saying if you could find one example of some animal in where it doesn't belong,
Right.
then you would prove evolution is wrong, but you can't because it doesn't exist. Because it took millions and millions of years
Right.
for this to happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it was just a fact. I recommend everyone go watch that and read up on it. I got sucked into the fucking rabbit hole this weekend. I
excited
watched
about it.
so much.
Is it on
I watched
Netflix?
literally 15 hours.
Where
of
do
this
we
shit.
find this if we want?
You can you can YouTube Ken Ham versus Bill Nye. The thing's on there.
It was
And-
live streamed.
Yeah, it was. And it's on YouTube.
There it is. Oh
I
God.
forgot that I got the table.
Oh,
there.
thank you.
No problem.
And then you can YouTube around. There's
Cranking
a
up
Nova.
our views.
There's a Nova about creationism versus evolution too. That's really good. And that I recommend people watch. And you can learn a little bit more about it. It's not to say, like, I agree with you. Religion's good, and, you know, Bill Nye was making the point that billions of people that believe in God don't believe in creationism because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
And he drops the mic and walked off stage.
I think he was actually very respectful, because if I was, like, hearing all this stuff and, like, I'm a man of science like Bill Nye is much smarter than I am. But it's just like nothing you're saying makes any sense. And when you're just lying by saying that space doesn't prove time, which it does, then you're just lying. You know, you're lying because it's fucking obvious by everything that's shown you. Like, all the evidence is obvious. And he was even making the point, like, there are trees on Earth older than 6,000 years old. How is that possible? You just ignore that evidence. But there's trees. There's a tree in Finland that's 9,000 years old.
That's awesome.
9,000.
How big is that? Is it huge?
It's small, actually.
It's the Great Deku Tree.
It's like a root system that, like, keeps popping up and then, like, it dies in the tree. But, like, the root system underneath is, like, really ancient, like,
crazy.
super ancient. You know, and they were saying that he was saying, like, humans were learning, like, agriculture and animal husbandry around 6,000 years ago. Like, it's not like. It's just so fucking frustrating to me. Like,
just because Tim and I had the same look on our face when you said that term, define animal husbandry.
The ability to domesticate animals.
Okay, good. That's what I thought it was. Sometimes, nope, that's not what
There
I
was
thought.
a time, it's so fascinating. There was a time when wheat or oats or barley were wild plants that people somehow, not that they're the same as we are now, the chickens were just in the wild. You know, like, people had to find horses and cattle and
Like
pigs.
Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
I do this all the time now.
Exactly like Minecraft.
Here's my thing, Colin. Who do you think the debate was designed for? Like, you're talking about how respectful Bill Nye the Science Guy was, which he needs to be, obviously, because you're watching it. But, like, do you think he changes? Does anybody come to that debate undecided and willing to listen?
No,
that's the upsetting
I was
part.
willing to listen. I was actually surprised by creationist argument because there is an organization to it. I didn't realize it was that organized, but I came to realize that it was just all prepared to counter accepted scientific fact. It's the same thing with global warming, frankly. Like, I'm not a global warming denier, but I actually believe that
It was hotter. Global warming my ass. It's colder. They see all the snowstorms and the ice vortex.
Like, that's so silly.
Come on.
Like
Global
I think,
warming we
like,
talking about.
Like, global warming is, I think, heavily flawed science, and the reasons why that's happening are unclear, and it's unclear
our views.
why those things have happened geologically over millions of years. You know, maybe things we know that things get hot and cold. Ice ages come and go. You know, there were ice ages covered almost the entire planet at one time. Like,
now they just cover the movie theaters.
Ooh.
so
Madagascar. Nope, not the same movie.
Nope.
Does Bill fuck with global warming?
Bill Nye.
Yeah.
He actually is a huge.
He's the global warming guy.
Well, he's, like, always on the news about it because, you know, I guess what I'm saying about global warming is, like, I don't believe that global warming is entirely man-made. I think there's solar cycles that happen. I think there's a lot. It's very presumptuous of us to assume that everything that's happening is because of us. But it would be foolish of me to deny that we have at least something to do with it. And it would be even more foolish of me to deny that the Earth has gotten warmer over the last 150 years. And that's pretty compelling, you know?
Yeah.
And the same. So, like, even though you might not want to believe it, but there it is, you know? The evidence is before you. And it's the same thing I felt with this argument with evolution. Like, you may not want to believe it, but here's some Cro-Magnon man bones from 10,000 years ago. You know? Here's a fucking dinosaur fossil.
There's Cro-Magnon bones over here.
What are your thoughts on the fact that we will live perfectly normal lives, but at some point someone's going to have to deal with global warming? It's not going to be us, but someone's probably going to have to deal with it.
They'll be fine.
We have to deal with it. We have to deal with it.
We deal with it now, but I'm saying, like, you always think in terms of, well, eventually the
United States refuses to deal with it, which is fine because it's an economic issue.
Yeah, the economy of it is we will eventually move over to more clean, renewable sources of energy, and it'll take care of itself, right? That's what people think. Ish.
Yeah, it's just carbon emissions.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the cows, the methane.
Yeah.
But on some of these issues, do you think that is it comforting to know that no matter what we do, our lives are still going to be okay? At some point, our children's children will probably be, like, living in masks and having to smoke cigarettes
like
because
Zuckus.
That's the cleaner air.
It looks cool.
Like Screamers. Remember that movie where
No.
they had to smoke cigarettes?
No.
I thought that was the coolest movie.
Yeah,
I was like, they have to smoke cigarettes? That's cool. That wasn't my real question. I forgot what my real question was.
What are you talking
Been
about?
a
I was
long
going to ask
day.
Colin a question. I forgot what it was.
You
though.
blacked
We
out.
can move on.
All right.
No, I had a good one. Well, I'll get back to it.
Okay. Tim,
Tim.
go.
I'm gonna go with something much more serious.
I doubt that.
It's definitely not
All
true.
right.
What's your favorite animes, if any?
Yeah.
What's the closest thing to an anime?
I could have helped you
And
better with
what's-
mangas, but
That's fine. What? Sure.
I like Puri a lot. That manga.
What? So describe it. What
Manga.
is this?
Puri the manga.
Why are you saying it like
Because that's how you say it. That's the Japanese
Manga.
way to say it.
That's how it's actually
manga.
spelled. It's a
Manga.
bigger P up front and then a little tiny purry. Purry. That's how you
He's not
say
even
it.
talking about the
I
right
know.
word.
What do you say? What?
He's arguing my
It's
manga.
manga.
My manga.
It's manga.
Manga.
There's no U in it.
I know. There's little things that I know that piss off Colin. I like Puri a lot. It's a
you
boy
swallow hard?
who's a priest. He's decided to be a priest. And then he gets dropped off at this school full of hot girls. And they want to break him. So he keeps getting put in sexual situations.
Oh, if that isn't a metaphor for your life,
I
Greg,
know.
I don't know what is.
I guess I have to be around Alfredo all day long.
Everywhere you
It's
go,
just like-
people trying to break that hard body of yours.
Yeah, I also like the Ghostbusters manga. That was a good one.
I like how you say it.
That was a good one.
Can you swallow hard for me real quick? For
He doesn't
Colin?
listen to the show. He doesn't know. He won't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
You have to listen to the show to really get the swallows. And then I guess anime. I liked Howl's Moving Castle. I've now said everything I can say on this subject.
I'm really interested in what Colin has to say about this.
So, little known fact, right?
See,
I don't often
this
talk
is
about
why.
my brother in terms of like detail. Right?
Mhm.
Details about my brother.
Your brother's badass, though.
He got me-
He
he's
has
the
some
one-
cool for a living.
He's like Cheryl. He's just an arm's gonna come in one
Right,
day,
right.
give you some whiskey, and that'll be the end of
He's
it.
the one who really got me into games, and he's 11 years older than me. And my brother's an animator. He's a pretty well respected animator in the industry, actually. He just finished his tenure at Sesame Workshop, and now he's
Wait, what does that mean?
what
Like, what does he do for them?
he worked on Sesame Street. God, that's cool. Then he moved on to, and with Sesame Street, I'm not sure. Like, I don't honestly talk to him too much anymore, which is regrettable because I love my brother. We just don't communicate.
You
because
busy? It was just a busy thing.
well, he has kids, and we're just really busy. We see each other and have a great time, and then we just
Right.
don't talk. So I'm not sure what he was doing there, but he worked for Sesame Workshop for several years, and now he's doing something for Disney. And I don't know what that is
Awesome.
either.
I hope he's
You
working on
should
Avengers.
find out what he's doing. Hopefully, it's Frozen 2.
He
But,
was the lead animator on Frozen. We had no idea this whole time.
That'd be the best.
But and he actually worked on as freelance project Leisure Suit Larry remake, so he was really really into anime when I was a kid, and he really got me into that. I mean, video games, especially in the NES and SNES era, went hand in hand with anime. Anime was really big in the late 80s and early 90s, especially in New York because. And maybe other big cities, but I would say maybe LA would be similar because you could buy so much of it, and like you could like go into into Manhattan and go into like these little fucking basement stores and just buy like bootleg tapes of everything you want. My brother had like all this shit, so a lot of the stuff I really watched as a kid and really loved is old. And Robotech's one of those things.
Yeah.
But Bubblegum Crisis is one of them.
yeah.
There was Ranma Half was really good, and then of course. For movies, I still really feel like, and it's kind of trite, I would say, at this point because it has gotten popular over time. But Akira is still like
it's not trite at all.
It's still the seminal anime.
When you ask anyone in a room full of people who are, informed on the subject what their favorite anime is, the very first thing everyone thinks of is Akira. You have to because it's an amazing work.
It's really the most. I mean,
stunning.
I'm not an expert in anime by any stretch of the imagination. I stopped watching them in like the mid '90s. But I know that has to be one of the most influential things that ever hit anime. And I can still see my brother had this huge movie poster of it in his room. I can still see it.
Was it the one where he's walking to his bike and he's got a pill on
and it
his
says
back?
Neo Tokyo is about to explode on the top of it.
So good.
And like just Akira on the bottom or whatever.
Did you
I was
see
like,
both versions?
Cool. I don't know.
There was a French-Canadian version. The very first version I saw, I think it was French-Canadian. They did the English translation for it. And they totally screwed up the translation. So it was a really convoluted, really intricate plot that kind of made no sense. And when I was a kid, I was like, dude, this is deep because I don't get it. Because I don't get it, right? I didn't understand it. And I'm like, this is insane. It was the very first thing I'd seen. Then I watched the actual Japanese version that was subtitled. And I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. Then they re-released it. I think it was digitally remastered. They re-released it. And they redid the dubbing. And I hated it because... I actually had a good conversation with Per about this. They actually pronounced the name of the characters the correct way. So it's not Akira, it's Akira. Yeah. It's Tetsuo,
Kaneda.
right? Kaneda, right? And when I grew up, I heard the other translations. It was always Kaneda. It was Akira. It was Tetsuo, right? Which were all totally wrong. Tetsuo might be right. And so I hated the original translation, but it did actually make the movie make a whole lot more sense to me. I was like, oh, I get what's going on. It's still intricate, but they actually bothered to like the dialogue actually reinforced what was going on in the plot. Kind of made a lot more sense. No, arguably, I mean, it is the best anime ever made. I don't think anyone can argue against that. I don't think there's anyone that's going to watch this. If you are watching this and you think there's something better, please let us know. But
and certainly no more influential, especially on a Western audience. I feel like that was the exposure.
It's what brought anime over to me, at least. That got me into anime. I was heavily in there. There used to be a shop called Sam Goody. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
There was a Sam Goody in a mall near me, and it was the only place I knew of that actually sold didn't rent, sold VHS tapes. Back in the day, I used to save up, and I would go, and I would be like, I knew nothing about it. This is before the internet. There was like a magazine, I guess you could buy, where you could read a lot about this stuff. But for the most part, you just had to look and literally judge a book on its cover. You had to look at the VHS tape and go, this looks cool. It's got a cool title. I'm going to buy it. So I used to buy movies, and some of them weren't great, but a couple of the ones that I loved. There's one called The Castle of Cagliostro, which is based on a series called The Lupin. It was a master thief. It was amazing. There was one called Wicked City, which was unbelievably cool. Still great to this day. If you ever get a chance to see it, check it out. And one called Ninja Scroll. I don't know if you ever remember Ninja Scroll. Familiar, But that movie, that one and Fist of the North Star, the movie, just blew me away. And I was like, I can't believe
Fist of the North Star's rad.
That it was one of those things where you watch anime for the first time and it really hits you. You're like, oh my God, there's a whole other world out there. There's a whole other world out there that doesn't treat their children like they're forever infants.
Yeah.
That actually will put something in a cartoon form and realizes the power of cartoons, right? Because cartoons are so much easier to do whatever you want. And that's why when we talk about Spectacular Spider-Man or Ultimate Spider-Man, I love those conversations because I still love cartoons. I still watch cartoons. Whenever there's a DC movie, I just watched the newest one. War. Was it War or War of Worlds? War of Two Worlds?
Justice League War.
Was it War? It was okay. Not the best. But I love them. And my wife has come to the point where she sees a preview for it that I'll be watching a preview, and she'll get up and she'll take her magazine and she'll go into the bedroom because she knows I'm going to buy that movie and watch it because I love them.
What a relationship.
I mean, afterward, we
get
it all up.
No, I don't mean it like
it's
that.
awesome,
No,
bro.
it's not love.
No, but she appreciates it. For the longest time, she and I didn't not necessarily see eye on it, but she was like, I don't get why you watch cartoons. I'm like, well, cartoons are the ultimate medium for me because you can draw. I mean, it's your imagination is the only thing that's limiting you when it comes to a cartoon, and it's amazing. But if you ask me what my number one anime was of all time, it's got to be Robotech.
I know how much you love Robotech, and I respect that because my brother really loved that.
I love
series too.
It is to this day, and I've said it before on this podcast, and I'll say it to the day I die unless they make it. Would make the best movie trilogy ever.
It's in hell, right?
It's in limbo. I think it's being made. It says on IMDb it's still in production. I haven't really followed.
Well, it's got to be true.
I need to get in on this Robotech stuff. Like, I've never watched it. It looks super cool, though. Yeah, I need to.
I'll loan it to you. The reason I liked Robotech was because it was they call it a space opera, like a space soap opera. It is more about the characters than it is about about the tech, but the tech is amazing in it, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the planes that, they do the traditional thing where it was like it would transform, but they transformed into three different variations, excuse me. But it was about the characters, and it was about them being stuck in this horrible situation where this ship crash lands and they reverse engineer it and they think this is the flagship and all of humanity was in a war beforehand and they've come together as one united government to build this ship in this beautiful moment of peace, and when they fire the ship up it sends a signal back to the aliens that lost it to come get it, and they come and they attack us. And so on the verge of this great peace that we've accomplished as human beings, we suddenly find ourselves in the worst war ever known to man. And the ship tries to take off and accidentally gets propelled across our our solar system. And so we're on the outskirts, and the Earth won't let us come back because the ship's what they want, not the Earth, and the Earth's been torn apart by these things. And so you get stuck in this, there's a lot of politics that play into it. Right. And I'm kind of overcomplicating it because it was a kid's show, and the characters are super complex, and it deals with dual races and love between the races and all these various different things, and how two races can be totally dissimilar, but at the same time they find a common ground somewhere. And it's just, it was 30 episodes. I think it was 33, something like that, episodes. And then they started making more iterations of it, and they started bringing other cartoons and labeling them Robotech, and it didn't work out that well. Like Southern Cross was kind of terrible. But the core Macross series was just it just was so good. It's the only way I can say it.
It's very nostalgic.
And I
for me,
think
too.
they could so easily just take it and make a movie, a trilogy like they did with Star Wars, and call it a day. And I hope they do. I hope they make it really well, and I hope they treat it like they had the decency to treat it in the 80s, without kitty gloves, no punches pulled, characters die, you see their skin melt away, you see them explode, and that was actually the censored version too. There's an uncensored version of it. The movies that Macross are based off of were like brutal, so there's that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You should watch them.
Yeah,
I'll loan you the series.
Cool.
I have them on DVD. If they're at my desk, I can give them to you.
How long is the run?
I think it was. I think it's like I said, 30 or 33. Quite a few episodes.
33 episodes?
Yeah, it's not that much though.
That's
it was
not
only a few seasons.
33.
No. See, I have six. I have 6 DVDs. Oh shit!
I have 6
can't remember.
DVDs.
No, because there's 6, but there's only like one of them special edition. I'll give it to you.
Cool.
It's not that many.
That's awesome.
You can burn through it in probably a week or two.
And before we move off this topic into the next topic, I just want to let you know because
Tim hasn't even said his yet.
I named my cat. I just want to say it real quick, and then Tim will go.
Yes.
I want to name. I named my cat Chung Li after Street Fighter. My brother named one of his cats that I loved with when I was a kid Shampoo after a Ranma half character. There's a lot of weird fucking video game nerd anime names.
There we go.
Of all these cats.
Do you remember the Street Fighter anime?
2.
Yes,
Street
I do,
Fighter
of
the
course.
animated
I
movie.
do.
That was
when
badass.
Chun-Li was in the shower. Yeah, I remember
that's
that.
not the part I was going to remember. The fight at the end between Ken and Ryu.
What I
was
remember
badass.
most from that movie was Balrog's crooked eyes. He was
He's like,
cross-eyed the entire time.
I don't remember that. You just ruined it for me.
You should watch it.
I
It's
got
awesome.
you know I still have all my anime VHS tapes. I'll bring them in. We'll go through them one day.
That's amazing. VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Do you still have a VHS player?
Nope. Can't play those. I have those. All I have left that either my mother or my wife haven't thrown away. It's very telling. Are like my entire anime series and then like one copy of Return of the Jedi on VHS that I was like, I'm
Awesome.
not throwing this away.
That's great.
I will fight.
Is it like
Keep
the
it.
really old Return
It's
of
the
the Jedi?
really old-
Not the one that was released in like 95?
No, it's the
but,
one
like,
where it's the original cover.
that
It's the
you could
original
probably pay
VHS.
like $80 for or something like that.
No, I bought it back in the day. I mean,
VHS cost a fortune in the 80s though.
I guess they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
I didn't know that until I rented The Empire Strikes Back when I was a kid from a library. And it had a price tag on it. It was like $79.99. And I was like, this can't be. I was talking to my dad. It was in the early 90s. I'm like, it can't be really. He's like, no, these things were really, really, really expensive. Like,
Well, there
in
were
the
those,
early
and I
80s.
remember laser discs. They were like $100,
and they were huge.
and then there was beta tapes. They were like $3, and somehow Sony botched that one too. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, they lost that format.
God, they lost that one.
Tim?
So a couple episodes ago, I said that Game of Thrones is my 3rd favorite show of all time, and I never said the first 2. They are both animes. The first one is one called Code Geass, and the second one is one called Death Note. Now, I want people to know I haven't seen that many animes, so there might be stuff better.
These are-
And if
these
there
are
is, let me
these
know.
are shows,
These are
too,
shows.
right.
Yeah, like these are not movies. These are
Right.
Code Geass is 50 episodes. Death Note's 37.
Okay.
And or 36. And they're both very similar. They're both about people getting special powers and how they use those powers. Like with great power comes great responsibility, all that stuff.
Spider-Man.
But this is kind of like
1989.
No, Death Note.
this is like screw that. Like fuck being
By
responsible.
the way, Tim has been trying to get me to watch Death Note. He's like, dude, what do I gotta do? He gave it to me, the whole series. It's sitting there. Everyone thinks it's amazing.
Is it the prequel or sequel to Death Blow?
It's the origin story.
Probably the origin.
Sorry, Tim. Continue.
So I'm not even going to get into Code Geass because that's too much to explain, and it's super awesome. But I would recommend for people, if you haven't already, to watch Death Note, and if you like that, watch Code Geass. Death Note is the story of this boy, this really smart high school kid, and he's just walking, doing his thing down the street. Now, up in the hell, which is above us for some reason, there's this thing called
idiots don't even know where hell is.
this thing called Shinigami, which is like gods of death
Shimigami Tensei.
in Japanese. And they're bored, and what they do is they have these notebooks called death notes where they're the ones that kill people, and they write their people's names down. If you write their name down, they'll die. So these death gods are up there just killing people. That's how people die. So one of them gets bored, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to just throw my book down to earth and see what happens. So he throws his book down, and then this high school kid sees this notebook and picks it up, and the death god just comes down and he's like, I just want to see what happens if a human has the power to just kill people. And this kid's like, he reads it and there's rules. It's like, if you write someone's name down, they will die. And he's like, okay, this is stupid. And then he sees it's like some girl get raped, and he's just like,
damn, why didn't he help?
It gets crazy. And well, like he tried helping, but it didn't really work out.
Gotcha.
And then he sees their name on their like little tag or whatever, And he like later goes home and he writes their name down, and then he sees on the news the next day that they died, and he's like, oh shit, this is real. And then he's like, I'm gonna like do something with this. Like, I'm gonna change the world. Like, I'm so smart, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna fix everything. So then he starts going, and every day he like watches the news, and he kills every criminal, like every single criminal.
Sounds like Greg Miller's death penalty solution.
Wait, no, I got this still from you. Don't ruin the whole thing.
No, I'm not going to.
It sounds awesome.
This is like
This is all the first 5 minutes.
This is all the first 2 episodes.
It's like a montage
Yeah.
of him writing names and people just like,
No, yeah, it is a montage. It's a montage of him just writing people's names down, and then like I'm not spoiling anything. This is literally the first 2 episodes of the series. All this is happening, and the Death God's just like, whoa, this is a lot better than I hoped for. Like, I thought it was just gonna be someone that kills someone and is done with it. This guy starts killing everybody. The world is like, oh shit, like we're not fucking with this guy. So criminals stop doing stuff, and then they're like,
like Greg Miller's death penalty plan.
Yeah, exactly. But then the police are like, we got to find whoever's doing this. Like, it's obviously somebody. So there's this like
Death blow.
The world's best detective that no one knows who he is. They just know his name is L.
That's cool.
And,
I love that. That's cool.
He goes by L.
Okay.
And so they're like, we need to get L involved. So they find L, and I'm not going to spoil too much after this, but he comes to find out who's doing this. Now, the greatest thing about this is the easy solution is for this guy to just write this guy's name down and kill the detective.
But he's not a bad guy.
But nobody knows the detective's name because he just goes by L.
Because he just goes by L.
So the entire series is 2 super geniuses going back and forth like chess in real life.
That's cool. That sounds cool.
Like, it's the detective.
All right, stop.
trying
I'm going to watch
get him.
this. I'm going to watch it.
How the fuck would he ever find him?
Huh?
You're watching the news. You write the name down. What the?
Stop. We're going to all watch
episode 3
Death Man.
explains that, and
Okay.
they pinpoint it down. You're like, what? And this is one of those
sounds
shows.
cool.
Code Geass. It's going to take about 10 episodes
right.
of watching to really. Hold on one second. Code Geass takes 10 episodes to
Stop
really
cutting 'em off
to
like you
really
always
get
do.
sold for. But Death Note, if you're not super hooked by 2 episodes, like, I'll give you your money back. I don't know. It's just so good. And then every single episode, there's a cliffhanger that you're like, what? How do you get better than this? And they do.
So 2 things.
Then it gets bad towards the end.
1, well, Tim,
But I'm not even going to get into it. It's super freaking awesome.
I will watch. I'll make you a pact right now. I'll watch Death Note if you watch Robotech. A whole thing, whole series. Got to watch the whole thing through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Colin,
Yes.
if you had the death blow notebook, what name would you write in it?
I like how you did that. We're missing Jerry.
This is the death blow. Such a great.
Who would I have? Whose name would I put in it?
Yeah.
I don't know, like some warlord probably that's fucking with people in Central Africa or
Okay.
the Middle East or something. Yeah.
It's not bad. Lionel Richie. Make a statement. Make a statement.
What are you making a statement against? Like cool people with great
that he
voices?
should be making more music because I really enjoy his music.
That's not going to. No.
Now let me ask you this question:
Death blow.
Lionel Richie or the Commodores? You going Lionel Richie?
I'm gonna need you to give me a couple Commodore songs because I know that I'll know them, but I don't know them off the top of my head.
You might not actually.
Give me a few.
I got to think of one now. I got to think of one.
You don't even know. You
I'm
don't
not
even
gonna be able to
know.
think one.
Then I'm going Lionel Richie. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Stop it.
Tim,
Yeah.
One of the best music
Colin.
videos of all time.
we're missing one. We're missing one, and we're gonna get shredded apart. If we
Totoro.
don't. No,
The Wolverine anime.
Colin, think. I want you to think.
Princess Mononoke.
Oh, that's amazing too, but no, that wasn't the one I was thinking of.
Is it Studio Ghibli?
No,
Persona.
there was a very amazing series that I never watched, and I to this day I regret not having watched.
Evangelion
There you
or
go,
whatever? Yeah.
Evangelion.
That is one.
Clement's
that-
always talked about
yeah,
this.
and
Everyone does. Every
everyone
time I
says
talk-
if you like Death Note and Code Geass, you'll love this show. But supposedly it was a show that went for like 30 episodes or something, and then they like started remaking it into expanded movies.
someone tried to tell me the full breadth of Evangelion, and it reminded me of the time that someone tried to tell me the full story behind Metal Gear. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why these people are different. So it's probably not
Clones.
worth.
It's pretty easy. I don't
Is
know
it-
why
were they
it's like
clones?
that. Yeah.
Well, spoilers.
Nanomachine.
Les enfants terribles.
Metal Gear story is awesome, Nick.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's true.
The first Metal Gear story is also Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
What's your
And
favorite?
Metal Gear Solid 2, huh?
What's your favorite Metal Gear?
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Should I go back and play Metal Gear? If I
Yes.
could.
Yes.
Have you never played it?
100%.
No, I played. What's one that came out for the PS3? 4. Metal Gear 4?
Yeah.
Played that.
The worst
Awesome.
one?
It's not the worst. Definitely not.
MGS and MGS2 are must-play games. Yes.
Did I ever tell you my story about that?
About MGS4?
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you guys one day.
Okay.
Oh,
It's good.
a tease of a topic.
It involves an old IGN editor, and it was one of the most funniest things that
I won't.
to say. Right.
I have an idea who it is. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
You go.
Why is everybody so mean? This is a question. Why by our nature are we all such mean people? What brought this up to me that made me think about it was the other day, somebody said something about The Simpsons. And my initial thing was the whole, The Simpsons fucking suck. They need to get canceled. Why? I haven't watched The Simpsons in years. Why am I so angry and mean to The Simpsons all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Because a long time ago, I watched an episode that I didn't think was good and I stopped watching?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal?
Simpsons does
This is a
suck,
good
though.
topic, though.
I always bring it back to the internet, the stuff we have to deal with, right? Where people tweet about how much you Greg and Colin, you're all a bunch of fanboys and pussies and horrible things, and they talk a lot of shit. But I watched TV and I didn't like The Office that one time, and I went to tweet negatively at The Office, and I stopped, and Christine asked me why, and I was like, people do that to me all the time, and somebody worked hard to make that, yada. But it still just goes in general that me and Colin were having a conversation yesterday on AIM about this, and I was saying he was accusing me of being a pleasure to talk to, and I was like, you do this to yourself. You've always started the relationship that we're mean. I'd love for us not to be mean to each other in conversations, but we are. And then you're in a car and someone cuts you off in your car, and you're like, what the fuck, man? That motherfucker,
You can't drive.
that guy, like you've done that a million times. It's an honest mistake. And the airport is the worst. When you go to the airport, nobody else fucking matters. Like, all humanity is out the window, right? It's like, I'm there and I'm miserable and I'll kill you.
I think one time I listened to Colin talk about the TSA, and ever since then, it was one of the first conversations we shot with you. And ever since then, I look at the TSA like they're just scum. I have a theory, Greg.
Yeah.
I think it's because the world is moving faster, and everyone's more busy and working harder than they ever have in the history of humanity.
But I feel like people are always mean. Always.
I think people aren't mean. I think none of us get enough sleep. None of us are well rested. We're all
cranky.
overworked, and we're just cranky. Like, I'm not a mean person, but you each have probably all seen me be mean over the last 2 months. Just because sometimes I get to a place where I'm like, I got nothing left, and then I got to reach farther down, and all that's down there is just horrible.
I think there's a
horrible
difference
energy.
between outburst and anger and mean. Like, people, I think
try to be
everyone's just mean. Like, majority of people are just mean-spirited. Like,
You think the majority of people are
I think
mean-spirited?
majority of people
Wow,
are
that's
mean.
depressing.
I think the majority of people are scared. I think the majority of people are living their life, and there's no plan to people's lives. Like it or not, you try really hard, but sometimes things just don't work out, and that's a terrifying thing. And because of that, some of us might, like I do this sometimes, I find myself slipping in where I'm like, you got to be tougher, and sometimes tough means mean, and sometimes mean means you got to just make hard decisions. You got to be kind of messed up to each other, and you got to kind of push for what you want out of life, because it's like they call it a rat race for a reason, right? It's really hard to live in this day and age.
see, I want to be like Mr. Bean in Rat Race, though. Just be nice to everyone and fall asleep.
Don't
There was
ever
this-
fucking
I'm
quote
gonna
the
slaughter
movie
this.
Matt. Oh, God, please don't.
I love Rat Race.
Oh, God.
Rat Race is the best.
First off, the star of it was clearly John Lovitz, but we're not going to go talking about Rat Race.
I watch
That's
that
a
movie
subject
once
for-
a year.
You do not
We
watch
do.
a Rat
Me and my
Race.
friends get together
Why are you
November
afraid-
28th for his birthday. We watch Rat Race.
Wow, why?
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Yeah.
Who's
Boobs in
Dean
it.
Kane's in that, isn't it?
Superman?
Yeah. Am I
Smash
wrong?
Mouth's All-Star.
All right, we're going to look up
plays
the whole
at the
cast
end.
of Rat Race.
Look up the cast of them. There was a statistic that came out that said living in this day and age is the most stressful time for any human being.
I bet.
Which is depressing, right? Because the
ridiculous.
most stressful time for us is, somebody was mean to me on Twitter. The
Not
Nazis
the
are
hardest
destroying
time.
Europe.
Not the hardest time. The most, like, we live under a constant state of stress, is what the study said.
Duck and cover and a million other things. There was a lot of other more
it's just
stressful
I can
things.
see it though, because there are. It's not even societal pressures. It's the reality of the situation to survive in the United States, for
Yeah.
instance. Like,
Especially in
it
San
is a rat
Francisco.
race, and that's just the nature of capitalism. That's the nature of our republic, and I
Breckenmeyer, Amy Smart, and yeah,
Amy Smart.
Dean Kane was Amy Smart's boyfriend.
I remember
remember
that movie
and
poster.
they did the thing with the helicopter and like blew up the pool.
Want to hear something crazy? I watched 2 shows with one of each of those people in it. Amy Smart's in Justified right now, and Breckenmeyer's on Franklin and Bash.
Good.
With
Oh,
Kumail
yeah.
Nanjiani.
Oh, Seth
who's
Green
a
was in it.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love those shows. By the
I
way,
was
if you're
so
not
mad there was no winner because all the commercials for that movie were like, "Who's
There was
gonna
no
win?"
winner at the end?
No, they all won. They gave it to charity, and then Smash Mouth's All-Star played.
Hey, now you're an all-star.
Yeah.
Get your game on.
So we all
What's up?
lost.
Is this the movie where John Cleese and all of them are doing bets? They're betting on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a genius movie. I'm sorry, I take
A
this-
genius movie is
movie
where
made
this
me
is
laugh.
moved up. Isn't
this
Dean Cain
one
in this?
and the man with two brains.
There's Dean Cain. Sean Kent.
Is Whoopi Goldberg not in this movie?
She is. No, she's very much in this movie. She's at the very top of the list.
Okay.
She was all like this. Hey.
Top billed were Breckenmeyer,
this
Amy
right.
Smart, Whoopi Goldberg, Vince Villeneuve.
Breckenmeyer had a good run there for he had the Clueless. He had this.
Wait, see the
Road
guy
Trip?
from Road Trip? Yeah.
Road Trip.
He was in
Road
Road
Trip
Trip.
was awesome. One of
man.
the first DVDs I had, so
Yeah,
I watched
totally.
it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Colin,
Yeah.
where do you come down on the Tom Green?
I fucking love Tom Green. Dude, the Tom Green show was
Tom Green show, I would be in hysterics.
I know,
watching
I
that.
loved it too, and people didn't I was in high school, I remember, and people were like, "What is?" This is the Tom Green show. Like it was just like
It's not your show,
It's
right?
not the Green Tom show.
Right.
It's like I used to just think that was the funniest.
This is my
shit
favorite
ever.
show because it is my show. Yeah, like it's one of those things where if there was no YouTube, obviously, but like that, there was cable access, and that's where it started.
That's
and
totally the birth of.
you can
that stuff.
totally see where it would have been this
Yeah.
show, where Colin's behind us just laughing the whole time. Remember, he
Yeah,
had
what
his
was
one
he-
friend.
and he had one guy on the TV, and then one guy in the chair next to him. Right, there was the dude on the.
Glenn
TV.
was always next to him,
Yeah,
and
and
then
who
his
was-
friend was behind him. I forget.
He was like
He looked like
always-
Quagmire. I remember. Now that's how I think of him now in
so
my head.
good.
Do you think that Tom Green would have been the first YouTuber if he existed 5
Well,
years ago? If he was
I mean, he has a YouTube show. He
Does
has
he
the
really?
Tom Green Show. He does a late night show.
oh, does he
Yeah.
really? Is it
On
amazing?
YouTube. I remember I watched it a couple times. He interviewed Steve-O, and it was awesome.
Does he get more views than us?
I don't know. We also met
I'm
him
sure he
last
does.
year at Comic-Con. He was at the party.
Tom Green?
Tom Green was at the Comic Con party
Yeah.
last year. I just
I
remember
don't think I
Bill
met him.
Paxton was there. I was like,
He was
Bill
hanging out.
Paxton,
Bill
game
Paxton
over,
and
man.
Tom Green.
We should
Tom
do a
Green.
Tom Green crossover
Tom
show.
Green.
Everybody tweet Tom Green.
Propelled his career from Tom Green show to stealing Harvard. If you remember that.
I
film.
vaguely remember stealing Harvard, which I think was before Euro Trip.
He wasn't
Road Trip,
in-
excuse
It
me.
was
I was
after
gonna say,
Road
yeah,
Trip.
yeah.
I
It
think.
was after Road Trip.
Road Trip.
Sorry.
It sucks to have peaked in a movie. There was that, and then there was that, and then there's Freddy got fingered. It was
Freddie
just,
got no. He didn't peak. He did. Freddie got fingered.
I say he still
and
hasn't
that
peaked.
movie bombed.
The movie also got sued by Nintendo because they used the Mario 3 Water World music for one of the songs.
Colin, where do you come down on The Wizard?
The movie?
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
I love the movie, and I'm going to tell you a specific reason why I love the movie is because Real Life's "Send Me an Angel" is in it during the montage, which is like one of my favorite moments in any movie ever. Send me an angel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like they're driving.
An angel.
All right, I believe I found it. That's it. Is that the right header? You think?
Yeah.
All right.
Tip. The Wizard.
I love The Wizard.
Nick
Like,
Scarpino,
honestly.
shut the fuck up about stuff that doesn't matter. Tom Green, his YouTube channel. How many subscribers do you think he has compared to the Game Over Greggy channel?
350,000.
Can you see?
I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, 100K.
All right. And Game Over Greggy's at what now?
61,000 some change.
62. Tom Green has 56,000
No way.
subscribers.
Oh, man.
When he had Artie Lang on, he did
He is-
7,000
he
views.
He is prime for a collab.
Yeah, he's totally prime for a collab. We need to get him here or get us there. We can bring these walls
Game
with
Over
us.
Greggy cross Tom Green.
Everybody tweet Tom Green this link and tell him we want to team up here. Howie Mandel, 5,000 views. Richard Belzer, 4,000.
Richard Belzer. If we had Richard Belzer on, we get 400,000 views.
Wait, is Richard Belzer the guy from
SVU?
SVU?
Yeah.
God, he's
And a million
awesome.
other things,
Munch.
too.
He's Munch.
Yeah,
My wife loves
Detective Munch.
My wife has a crush
He
on
always
Munch.
has really insightful things to say. Here and there.
Tom Green interviews turtles and a man. That's how are more people not clicking on these videos?
It's a shame. Tim, are we going to legitimately go the rest of this podcast without you opening up the damn box of
So
cookies?
I was thinking about it, and I remember when I listen to podcasts, I hate it when I hear
Yeah,
people
people
like
eating's
eating
the
and
worst-
stuff, and
worst.
like especially this with the rappers. You can even hear it here.
Yeah,
That's not
you
going to
don't
sound
want that.
good.
You don't want.
I'm
Trust
thinking
me.
of the
I know
viewers.
you're a
Who cares?
podcast
Listen.
rookie.
I'm
You
trying
don't
to be a
want that.
professional right now, but I'm heartbroken.
Yeah,
I will throw
know.
him at the door. Do you want me to
I'm
throw him at the door?
about to have a tantrum and reach down to that dark place that you see me go.
Well, you're almost done. You're the last topic. Do we figure out why people are so mean?
Here's my insight on this. I'm gonna give you
Because
some
you're a
insight.
mean person.
No, I'm
Colin.
not.
You're
No, I'm
mean
not.
to me. You're mean
Nope.
to your friends.
No, I'm not.
You give a lot of shit.
I give shit to people. Yeah, I'm not mean. I'm actually a really nice person, and I'm gonna tell you one of the things that really
You're humble too.
I'm humble here and there.
I'm fucking around.
I feel like I'm the epitome of the well-raised individual. I'm a please and thank you person.
You are?
I hold doors for people. Like, someone drops something on the street, I'll pick it up for them. I'll get up if a pregnant woman or older person needs a seat in the train. Like, I actually am. I feel like I
think you're principled.
I feel like I respect people. Now it snaps very quickly, though. One of my favorite moves is if I hold the door open for someone and they don't say anything, I immediately go, "You're welcome." I'll look right at them or whatever. Like, so I expect it back in kind. I never leave someone hanging. If they hold the door open for me, I'll rush to the door or rush to the elevator. Thank you so much. Someone hands, you hand someone money, they hand you a product. Thank you. Can I please have this?
Right.
But if I don't get that back, I'll give you fucking shit immediately for it. Because I expect it back.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom walking through a door that someone held open for you, not saying anything.
Yeah.
That's like unbelievable to me.
One time I went through a door, said thank you. The guy didn't hear me. He started giving me shit. And my wife laid into him. She's like, he said thank you. And they just started screaming at each other. And I was like, we're going. I frequent this establishment. It was a Starbucks on Union
Of course
Street.
it was.
It's not a big deal. I'll be honest.
My friend just texted me. I'm smoking cigarettes and drinking Starbucks. I feel like Nick. I feel cooler than ever
Told
before.
ya.
What Starbucks is he at? We'll go meet him for one after this. Tell him to come to the Starbucks on Laurel.
amazing.
After this. I want a cigarette.
Yeah.
My topic ties in with this.
Okay.
So it's funny that we totally didn't plan this at all. So this was tweeted at me, and I meant to actually bring it up last week just because of this person's Twitter.
If someone's tweeting at you, is it your topic?
It's their topic, but I like it. Someone adopt it.
He gives a little credit.
So you're calling a little audible.
I'm giving credit for this.
Okay.
At Naughty Dog James sent me this a while back.
I know that name.
He doesn't really work at Naughty Dog. Don't fall for it.
No, I know.
I fell for it.
Don't fall for it. What's the meanest thing you've ever done?
So I've thought a lot about this. And my answer, it's going to probably piss you guys off because it's like a total...
I've never been mean.
It's a total Tim Geddes answer.
If none of you guys have a mean thing, I got another topic.
No, this is good.
No,
Shut up.
I have a mean...
It's out of the bag. The cat is on the fire.
The cat is on the fire.
Yeah.
What is it you said to me earlier today? You were like, the sticks are in the snake bread. I was like, what are you like? You're like, I'm tired, bro. Your dinner's ready.
No, it was one of
say?
it was one of the. This ties into the mean thing, right? We were, how we all use hyperbole quite a bit. Nick and I were talking about somebody. I forget if it was an actor or somebody we've met about that. I was accusing them of being dumb, and I went to say. She's dumber than a bag of hammers. But instead, I said, she's dumber than a box of bags.
No, you said something like she's boxer than a bag of hammers or something like that. And I was like,
and you're like, what? And I lost it.
No,
I
I knew what you said, but I was like, yeah.
There's
what?
karma. There's karma.
Yeah.
That person is dumb. I can't even fucking say what I'm saying.
That's amazing.
Did you say yours already, Tim? I can't.
No, he was about to say I'm the pure one, so I've never been
What-
mean.
what-
No.
is it? You never mean anyone?
So this is, and this haunts
Wait,
me.
this comes from the person that used to, by the way, like do horrible things to people. Remember the story you told about the lights that used to turn on when people are trying to have sex, and you'd like terrify them.
That's mean.
And then you'd
Alright.
like slowly push them off the cliff with the bumper of your car.
That's not a true part.
Tell people that part, Nick. So for me, this haunts me to now in my life, and this happened when I was like 6 years old, 7 years old. I grew up near this park, and there was a big like stone slide, and I had my skateboard. And like when you're that young, you can't really actually skateboard. You kind of do the thing where you put your knee on the skateboard and kick with your other foot. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking
I know
about.
you're talking about.
But it was awesome. So we would do that, and I'm like, I love that, and I love this stone slide. I should probably sit on my skateboard going down the slide.
Natural evolution.
And it would have been super awesome. It would have
Yeah.
been the best thing ever. So I'm sitting at the top of the slide. No one was around. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna do this. So I put the skateboard down, and it slips out from underneath me. Thank God.
Kills a kid.
I would have probably died had I went down on this damn thing.
Did you at some point know when you were looking at the top of it that this is a bad idea?
No.
Okay.
I was about to rock it, but it slipped out from me. Went down. This little like
Oh, no.
3-4-year-old girl comes like just falls right in front of it, and it just nails her.
Ah, in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Her whole
Too
thing's
much
a head.
blood.
She's
There's
a-
blood everywhere. Yeah.
She was this like tiny little girl, and it hit her. Just I'll never forget the sound of her crying, just like this shrieking sound. I was like, oh my God! And I instantly felt horrible, and I ran away.
Yeah. That's
Like
what you
I
do.
just
You gotta
ran,
do that.
and I was so scared. Like I thought I was going to jail. Like I thought I didn't even know what I was doing.
Assault.
And then her dad chases me down
Damn.
and comes running up the slide, and comes running after me.
Dad's
and
an
I
Olympic
was
gymnast.
like, he's gonna kill me. And then my dad comes out of nowhere and beats the shit.
No
out of him.
fucking way.
Beats the fucking shit out of this guy, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. Beats him up. He's down, and then my dad just grabs me. Hey, let's go. Grabs me, and we go. And that's the end of my story. and I will live
That's
with
a
that
felony.
for the rest of my life.
That's like 2 felony
Like
assaults.
it's like I felt so bad.
It's the Getty's family versus the Smiths, and they just destroyed them on all fronts.
The good news is you won.
Yeah.
So that's always great.
How old are you?
I don't know, 6 or 7.
Oh, okay. So the
maybe
statute of
7.
limitations is long over on that assault.
Good, thank God, because I still feel bad about that though, because like I didn't mean to do that, and like
Sure.
it was so bad, and then
It just escalated
then my
quickly.
dad beat the shit
Did you
out
know
of me.
your dad was there?
I didn't know where he was at the park. I didn't know
Okay.
where though. He was with my little brother.
Okay.
My little brother was probably 3 or 4. at
Sure,
the time.
sure.
So yeah, that just
Have you ever
don't know.
talked about it again?
no, not with him,
Wow.
not with anybody. I just kind of let it go.
That's not really. I mean, I know you feel bad about it, but
You're
it's something
young,
you
though.
did.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
You guys,
saying
are
it's
gonna,
not his
you
thing.
guys are gonna give me shit for that. 'cause
We're
it's
not
like,
giving you shit. I'm trying to
well,
tell
it's
you.
like, technically, it's not my fault, but like, it was my fault. I shouldn't have been doing
I
that.
did.
Did your
and I
dad
was
have like?
dumb.
No,
Was it
come
clear your
on.
dad was going to destroy this guy, or was there a fight ever in possibility?
I've never seen my dad fight. Like, my dad's not that type of guy at
He
all.
stepped
But is he
into
built
it.
like you?
Said he
Since
was
then,
protecting his son.
my dad's.
My
like, pretty
guess
much
is
just
what
like
your
me.
dad saw was some
A grown man
grown-up
chasing you.
chasing after you, ready
Yeah.
to kill you, and his paternal instincts took over, and he
Yeah.
wrecked this guy.
Yeah.
Like I hope any one of us in this room would do, right or wrong.
I would do it.
Don't come after my kid.
I was gonna say if Tim threw a skateboard at a girl now, I'd beat the shit out of anyone who came after him.
Yeah,
I
love you
Greg would
guys.
probably beat up the girl. General principal, just right.
Being too
The
loud.
job,
All right,
Greg.
Tim, you got her down, but we got to make sure she doesn't tell anybody.
She's
We got to.
seen our faces.
She's gonna relate it back to the Game Over Greggy show.
Let's Moriarty here. Let's just
Yep.
lights out. Colin,
Yeah.
what's the meanest thing
Meanest thing you ever done?
2 things came to mind.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use any names.
Don't use names.
Both involve girls. In high school, I used to have this huge crush on this girl. She was a year younger than me. I was in 11th grade. I think she was in 10th grade. She was a really cool girl. We used to like meet up at our lockers and like talk to each other. She was
Yeah.
super cute. But I was like still in the stage where I was kind of like my friends were busting my balls and I was kind of embarrassed or whatever. And so she and I used to hang out after school and like just like make out and like stuff like that and like hang out. But then my friends found out
And stuff like that.
and yeah, so she's looking all hot and
So on and so forth.
so on and so forth. And so my friends found out, and she like was bold, you know, like, and she like was like, you know, we should date or be, you know, you want to be my boyfriend, or whatever. And I was like, you know, I was with my boys, and like I was all embarrassed, and I'm like, I only did that with you because they put me up to it, you know.
Oh, that's brutal.
But it wasn't true, you know. Like I actually really liked her, and I felt like so bad about it. And I actually in college saw her and I was like, I'm really sorry. That wasn't true. And I didn't know how to handle it. You were a really cool girl.
Was she totally like a goth girl at this point? Like, had you totally skewed her life when you met her in college?
No,
Just
she-
like the butterfly effect. Yeah.
and we're cool now. And like, I haven't seen her in years, but I mean, we're Facebook friends and stuff. But she was, you know, like, she was just a really nice girl. And like, that was like really fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other example is in college, I used to, I dated this girl twice, in 2 different intervals. Once when I was a sophomore, once when I was a senior. And, she was like this just really cool, like super nice, super beautiful, like chick. And we weren't meant for each other. It was just like a thing, right? Like, you know, but like we had fun, and she was always really respectful and like really thoughtful and shit like that. And, she, you know, I started dating her in the summer, and then I kind of just got bored and like wanted to date other girls or whatever, and I just broke up with her. And she was like, oh, you know, like she was upset or whatever. And then we ended up seeing each other at a bar when we were seniors, and like we hooked up or whatever. And then we started dating again, and I broke up with her again for like no reason, you know, because I was like, all right, you know, and I knew she was really into me, and I felt really bad about it because like I did the same, like she trusted me and I did the same thing, you know, like where I wasn't doing anything wrong, I guess, but it was just like I didn't want to be with you anymore.
Right.
And I felt really bad about it because she was fucking cool too, you know, and we weren't meant for each other. I'm glad we didn't stay together. I wouldn't have met my girlfriend now.
Who brings you
more than
whiskey?
yeah, she brought me whiskey. I love her more than anything. But it's just on a personal level, I feel really bad about the way I treated her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not so much of like this one instance where I was mean. It's like this one thing where I didn't respect her as a person. I didn't respect her trust. I didn't respect like what I did to her and how I made her feel. And I apologized profusely to her. She actually ended up dating my friend for a long time after that, which was fine. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know you fucking hate me. Your friends definitely hate me. You know,
Yeah.
like I know that because they tell me.
They tweet at me all the time.
So like,
you're dead.
There's just these two things. Like I've never been like a guy. Like I've always was the guy, and I was really proud of being a person, especially in college, where I would stick up for people. You know, if they were being picked on or whatever. Not that I'm a tough guy, but I hung out with a lot of tough guys, and I knew that I could put myself in these situations, and they would never let anything happen to me ever. You know, and so I would always stick up for people that were
just
getting
like
pushed
the
around
four
or-
of us.
Yeah.
Right. We're tough.
And not that I couldn't handle myself, but like if someone
Well,
was getting
Tim's-
picked on, if someone's
If we got into a fight right now,
Tim's dad would.
I was gonna say someone comes at Tim, his dad is jumping out of trees, Green Beret style.
like if a guy's like this, I remember one instance in college where a guy was disrespecting a girlfriend of mine, a girl that was a friend of mine, and I stepped in and was like, "What are you fucking doing?" Like he was like a big dude or whatever. He was like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And I was like, they might do something about it. So.
Yeah. So what am I gonna do? Nothing. Just gonna cash their checks.
See, I never had that. All of my friends. So it's well documented at this point what I did in high school for the most part. When you are shadowboxing by yourself at night and then by day frequenting the marching band, you don't have a lot of people that have your back. Although
Tuba guy didn't have your back.
No, Tuba guy didn't. Drumline had my back, and Drumline actually, there was a couple guys in Drumline that no one wanted to mess with just because they're a little crazy. But I never really
Animal?
had that. Actually,
Was
no,
Animal
I
on
take
the
that back.
Drumline?
I had one time. I think I've told the story. I don't know if I told it on a podcast, but I'll tell it again. I do have one time when I almost got in a fight with a guy, and it was over a girl because I loved his girlfriend, and he was like, "Dude, stop." I was totally my fault, and I was like,
My bad.
I thought I had this was the girl that I had the biggest crush on in high school. I'll never forget her to this day. She's still super cute because I Facebook stalk her every once in a while. Thankfully, my wife doesn't listen to this podcast. Well, that's what everyone does. Come on. Everyone Facebook stalks their ex-girlfriends. That's what Facebook's for. Twitter's for pretending you're someone else and tweeting at them. No, but there was one time. So I remember I almost got in a fight. The one fight I almost got into, almost fisticuffs, was in high school, and I was like, "Oh, the shadow boxing, it's all gonna pay off. I'm gonna
You just throw that one punch and just destroy him.
Right through his face, like Last Dragon style." No, I remember we almost got in a fight in front of the band room, and all the drum line was there. And the drum line were they were my homies because I was cool with them. And we got to that point where we were looking at each other, we were staring at each other in the face. Right, we're like, it's just like, to anyone that works at the school, these guys are going to get into a fight. So people started converging on us, right? And I think both of us saw the yellow shirts converging on us from our peripherals. And so we both knew, because neither one of us wanted to get into a fight. I hold to this day that neither one of us actually wanted to punch each other. We just were like, be hold out and be tough enough just until that yellow shirt and then it was over.
What's the yellow shirt?
Staff,
okay.
like security.
I'm with you.
My colors were gold and blue, so it was like gold and blue was on staff.
Sure.
And so I saw him coming out of the corner of my eyes, and
you should have fucking cold cocked them real quick before they got there.
I was thinking that the thought occurred to me, but what was more embarrassing, was two things that were embarrassing. One was that I didn't realize the entire drama line was behind me, and two, the person that broke up the fight was the smallest female that worked on the campus, and and we both we were waiting for it. We were waiting for it. We came apart like two fucking magnets, like on the opposite end, just popped apart. And the drumline later on was like, "Dude, we totally had your back." And I was like, I didn't know you guys had my back, or else I would have acted a lot tougher before I pretended that I was gonna get into a fight. And they were like, "No, we'd have had your back, bro. We'd have had your back." And then later we ended up apologizing to each other and shaking hands. And we were good.
Yeah, it's good. I don't like people that are tough for the feeling of being, or for the sake of being tough. But I like the people that are righteous and stick up for people.
Yeah.
And
see, that was
I try to be that guy when I can.
Yeah.
That was the last fight I was almost in. I like how they're all almost fights for this table. But we're in college. We're having a house party. Everyone's there getting crazy. And one of our friends walks in. His name, I probably shouldn't say. He walks in. He's black. He's totally dejected, and we're like, "What's wrong, dude?" Blah blah. And he's like, 3 houses down, 4 houses down, whatever. They're having a party, and they just scream the N-word at me, and we're like, "Oh fuck, no." So literally, all these antlers, somewhat drunk, get up, and we had this guy with us who was huge, and I mean huge, like the biggest motherfucker I've ever seen. I'm talking height. I mean, anytime something would start to go wrong at a tailgate or something, this guy would step in and it would immediately stop, because this guy, nobody would fuck with this guy. He's an Adonis, giant freaking titan. You know what I mean? So we go up there, this giant crew. We go up there and we get to the front of the house, and we can see that there's a screened-in porch and there's people on the porch, and so our leader goes up there and he's talking through the door about what's going on, this is out of line or whatever, and we're all just hanging back on the sidewalk like you do, Like we're not going to go up to this door, like whatever. And so he's talking. He comes back, he talks to us, like, well, they're not having it. They're not listening, blah, blah. Another guy goes up there, is talking. Then our leader goes back up there, is talking. And all of a sudden the door comes open and the guy throws a beer in his face. And then more people go to the front of the thing and more people are yelling. And I'm like, watching this, like, why aren't they backing down? We have all these people. We have the giant guy. This is how it goes every time. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's out of line, you're going to be like this. It'll be over. No big deal. And so finally, like, we're going, and I'm like, this is just getting worse, and more people are getting angry. You can hear people shouting on things. So I turn to my girlfriend. I'm just like, at the time, obviously, I'm like, hey, take my glasses. I think a fight's going to happen here. And she's like, I'm not going to take your glasses. I'm not going to help you fight. I'm like, well, go to the house and get more people. And she's like, I'm not going to help you fight. I'm like, we're going to get beat. Something's happening here.
We're going to be dead.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. She's like, what? I'm not going to. I'm like, fine. Finally, somebody else goes up there to talk. Another beer in their face. And then the screen door throws open, and like 30 people come out for our 15. So immediately it's 2-on-1 on every person we're with. And it's like, oh, this is what's happening. I see what's happening. And so they are all...
Wait, at no point did you assume there were more people in the house?
I knew there was, but I mean, at no point did I...
You didn't think it might be a whole house full of people. It was a party,
I didn't think that... No, well, we were rolling up deep, too. I mean,
15 is not deep. 15 isn't
15 isn't
pretty
deep.
15's
Thank
pretty
you,
deep.
all right?
I'm sorry.
So all of a sudden, it's 2 on every one of us, multiple people on the huge dude, and it's like, this is bad. And so I've already taken my glasses off now and put them in my pocket. And the guys roll up on me, and they are all like bros, like the pop collars, and like
they train for this.
They've been working out, and they are ready for this.
This is it.
And the guy walks up to me, and clearly this guy's going to destroy me and just rock me. And all I can come up with is, this has gotten out of hand. I draw a comic for the school paper. To which he just full on, boom, like just on my chest. And it's like, as soon as he hits, I'm like, oh, I'm getting fucked up. This is bad. And so... it's like we're literally there. They're already starting to kick the big guy's legs because they're going to take him down that way.
So they're going after the biggest guy first.
Of course, yeah. It's like a double dragon fight. You know what I mean? But as it's like literally like I'm like, oh geez, you know what I mean? One of their girlfriends comes off. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. One of their girlfriends comes off the porch and goes, cops, and all of those guys flood back in the house, and like we're all still in our fighting stance on this lawn by ourselves, and a cop car just rolls by with the spotlight on us, and we're all like, all right, and we just like brush ourselves off and go back to the house. Man. But and like the huge guy flipped. I'll never forget it. We got back there, and he was so upset at the entire situation. Flips this like wide and then like thicker than this 2 tables probably concrete slab we had on our front porch. Just goes, and like flips this thing. Tears
like,
off,
where was that rage 20 minutes
off
ago,
the
bro?
brick base. Well, no, I mean I don't know.
He's getting his legs kicked.
Yeah, exactly. When they're trying to
7 people were on him.
He's getting his legs kicked.
Fighting
Muay Thai kicking his legs.
Fighting's rough, dude. I've gotten the shit beat out of me. So it's not a multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's not a when I had never gotten into a fight after high school, but like you find yourself in these extraordinary situations that have nothing to even do with you. And suddenly, I mean, at least in my experience, and suddenly you're just getting the shit beat out of you by someone. And it's like, okay, that's fun. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, that's every time I've come to the point where I've actually fought. There's only been, I think, twice. It ended up with me getting punched and then me hitting the ground, and that was it. There was no Jean-Claude Van Damme jump kick like I thought I could pull off. There was no action hero Hall of Fame for me. It was me getting punched in the eye and realizing, oh my god, that really hurts, and I can't see, and there's nothing I can do about it. And you'd think I would learn, but have I ever told you the story of why I quit smoking?
No.
Oh, I've never told it. Okay, it's a good story. So smoking, by the way,
cool.
It's
looking,
arguably cool looking, as what Greg says. It also screws with your mood a little bit, right? It's a depressant, I believe. So when you don't have it, your body craves it, like any drug. When your body craves something that it can't have, you have mood swings. You have elevated moods. You smoke, you feel happy, and you go down, you feel really super depressed. So I was experiencing that pretty hardcore because I was smoking about 3/4 of a pack a day, which is a lot of cigarettes, about 20 cigarettes in a pack. So I'm smoking upwards of 15. And one weekend, and I never used to smoke with my wife. I'm not going to smoke around her. And so when I'd be with her, obviously I'd be cranky. And I was going to park my car. And you guys have all parked now with me. You haven't, but and parking in San Francisco is not the easiest thing, so it's frustrating as is. But I had to swing around because in my carport, there's always two cars that are almost like touching, and I have to squeeze between them just to get. So the angle, I have to go super drastic on it. Well, I forgot to put my blinker on. So I swerve out right, and some guy tries to naturally pass me on the inside. He's totally right. And I go and I cut him off, and he slams on his brakes, and he starts honking at me. And I'm pissed.
That's it.
That's it. I'm gonna show how macho I am, and how big.
Is your wife in the car?
Yeah, my wife's in the car. His wife's in the car. I didn't look at him. I didn't bother looking at him.
Of course not.
So I just flip him off. He keeps honking his horn. He's pissed at me. That's it. I throw my car into gear. This is what we trained for.
It's all these like slow motion flashbacks.
My wife's just kind of like, she didn't know what to do. She was awestruck. She was like, I can't believe it. I've never seen Nick this enraged. And I was like pissed. This guy pulls up, and I'm thinking, again, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna yell at this guy. He's gonna keep driving. But I get up, get out of my car, slam the door, and I start yelling at this guy horrible things. And he stops. And his wife's in the car. And she's like, I can see her going like this. Like, not to me, to him. Like, not stop because you're going to get your ass kicked. Don't get out of the car.
You're going back to jail if you kill another guy.
This guy, you're going to kill this kid. I'm 34, 33 at this point. And the guy gets out of the car. And I'll never forget this. He gets out. He's like 6'5". And on my best day, 5'8". Like, this guy's so big, and he, just to screw with me, goes, "Oh, what?" and flexes his muscles, and I'm like, "What? Like 8 days a week you go to the gym to get those biceps? Those are the biggest things I've ever seen in my life." And but just the blood trades out of my face. But I'm like, no, my wife's watching, his wife's watching. I got to back this guy down. We get face to face. And the only thing I can think, because the guy was chewing gum, the only thing I could think to say was, he was like, what? I'm like, throw a punch, dude, throw a punch. I'm thinking I'm going to slip his punch, maybe kick him in the knee. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. My shoulder's messed up. I got bad knees. I haven't worked out in years. I'm really overweight. And this guy's like, what? Big man, big man, big man. The only thing I could think to say to him was, hey, your breath smells good. And he's like, what? And I'm like, what? And then he's like, dude, you're fucking weird. And he left. That was it. And I'm like, I got to quit smoking. That was it. I went to that day. I went and got the patch, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this.
I love that you've never told us that story.
I never told you that. Yeah, I was like, hey, your breath smells good.
Oh my god.
Like, what? And I'm like, huh? And it was one of those situations where I could tell he didn't want to do it either. He was like, just back down, dude. Just I'm going to destroy you. And I'm like, I'm not going to back down because I'm tired of backing down. Like, I'm not going to back down. And my wife's like, I could hear her in the car. She's just like, back down. And his wife's like, dude, back down because you were wrong.
Yeah.
And if I could find that guy today, I would literally walk up to him and go, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I did the wrong thing 3 times.
He listens to this show.
He's not. He hasn't thought one thing about it because the guy knew with a shadow of a doubt. No doubt in his mind he would have just destroyed me. And I'm talking like destroyed. The guy was like twice me. But like cut. So anyway. So that's
Wow. See, you were asking a meanest moment or whatever, right?
You got into fighting somehow.
Yeah, it happens. That's similar to my meanest moment. I'm putting quotes, but I meanest moment's kind of hard to come up with. The moment I felt probably the worst in my life, because like I was talking about it, right? That I try to live by the Superman values here: be a better person, be a beacon of hope, be nice, help everybody out that I can. I was back in Illinois for my mom's wedding. She was getting remarried. And I was there with my girlfriend at the time, Portillo, and we were trying to drive back to Missouri. But I was in the wedding, so I had to return my tux at the mall. A number of other events that happened that day, stupid things. I don't know. Maybe I need to change a tire. There was like all these little things that chip damaged at me, right? It's like one of those things where it's a 6-hour drive back to Columbia, so I already knew we weren't getting out on time anymore. We're gonna get there super late. I'm really pissed about that. Traffic's bad. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I go to the mall to drop off the tux, right? And I'm already like seething, just mad in general. I'm circling the lot trying to find a spot, and all of this is made worse by the fact that I just need to find a spot to go literally as soon as you go inside, it's right there. I just have to go in the front door, take a little left, and drop off this tux and come right back out. Yeah, so I just need a spot. No spots anywhere except for like way in the fucking back. And I'm like, I am not fucking doing this. You know what I mean? So like I drive the car around. Finally, like, there's a front door of the mall. Then there's like, the crosswalk to a little median, then another crosswalk over to the parking lot. And like, it's this smoothing spots, like you can walk through it or push a cart or push, anything through it, like handicap entrance. I swing in and just park there to block it. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to block this for literally the 60 seconds I need here. Life. Cut me a break.
This was in Chicago.
Yeah, of course.
So
in
in San
Chicago.
Francisco, that's commonplace. You just park your car wherever you want. You run,
Sure.
and you do your thing for like an hour, and then you can get out.
Yeah. No. This is
great, someone
Chicago.
told my car. Okay.
Giant crowded mall, and
Right.
it's a hot summer too, like almost. But it was hot for sure. Anyways, park the car. Girlfriend's in there. We have all this crap packed in because I was driving a Ford Mustang at the time, so there's no storage at all in this
Was it
thing.
a 5.0 Mustang? Was it that cool 80s Mustang?
No, it was a 94.
Okay.
Ragtop, black and tan.
That's cool.
But Portillo is on her lap. She's totally locked in, so it's not like she's gonna be able to help if the car needed to move or somebody to take our spot, or to yell at us for the spot or whatever. I'm like, whatever. I look around. There's no one coming with a cart. There's no one in a wheelchair. Nothing is happening. I'm like, great. Cross there, cross the median, cross in, go in, drop off the tux, come back out, come back, and I somehow out of fucking nowhere. This nice older gentleman materialized with his daughter in a wheelchair. And he's pushing her, and now they're at the car. They've somehow gave me the slip on me coming in and looking for this kind of situation. I can't find. I'm like,
You didn't see it.
no, it's not that I didn't see them. They just appeared. Someone put them there.
They were an operation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm like, God, and I'm to the point now. I'm just like this is like airport mode, right? Where I'm just like, fuck everybody else. I just want to go home.
get in the car and
Get
home.
out of here.
Get in the car, get home.
So I go. You know, he's like, they get to the car, like, and they beat me there, so they're blocked in. I just run up. I don't say anything to them. I don't want a confrontation. I don't want to talk about them, right? I go in. I get in the car. I shut the door. I reverse out, and my windows are down because it's hot. And so my windows are down, and he rolls up and turns, and he's just like, just so you know, next time, and I just fucking floor it and just like burn out and like leave him in literal dust.
That's kind of cool.
No, but it was like, it's one of those things. And
If
like,
it wasn't if he didn't have a wheelchair, if it was just an old crotchety old man.
he wasn't crotchety. He seemed like a nice
Just
old
a nice
man.
guy, huh?
And it didn't seem like he was about just for next time,
kinda-
fuck off. It was gonna be
yeah.
like just for next time, think about it. You know
Just
what I
park
mean?
in front of other people.
Exactly,
Yeah.
something stupid
Maybe
like
someone
that.
able-bodied.
But like I floor it in this dust, and like there's the screech and everything else, and like there's just like this tense like 10 minutes of silence as I drive like onto the highway, right, with me and the girlfriend, and I'm finally just like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things that all sets in of just like, what an asshole thing to do.
Worst.
And like for the drive down there, I'm debating like taking out an ad in the paper to apologize. Like somebody still reads the newspaper. You know what I mean? But I felt so terrible about it because it was like totally like, it wasn't he was being a dick. It was just like that was the final fucking straw. So he got all of it. He got all of it. You know what I mean?
I've been in situations like that. So my meanest thing is not any one incident. I wish there was one to pinpoint, but I am prone to fits of like extraordinary rage. Tim, you've seen it in a little bit here and there.
I've seen it.
I take it out on
I'd say
coworkers.
maybe 4 of them.
My thing is this: I know the second it's happening that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And that I just need to get it out. I should stop. I try to stop as soon as I feel it coming. You just get to a point where you're just, I've had it. That's it. You know, like you're talking about. And it's happened at work. And then when it happens at work. When it happens at work, I at least get the opportunity to make amends where I'm like, I'm sorry about that.
Nick apologizes every time, and it's one of the most genuine apologies you'll ever get. You're
One
like,
time,
you
yeah.
actually mean this.
One time I yelled at Alex. This is not my meanest moment. I just took it out on Alex. I felt bad.
You and that fucking
And
beard.
No, I can't remember what I was saying. He was just trying to solve a problem for me. And every time he would try to solve something, I just wanted to rage at someone. So I just kept yelling at him. And I felt bad. And I immediately apologized. And all Alex did was he gave me one of these.
Yeah.
And we just bumped fists, and that was it. He never talked to me about it again, which I thought was really, really cool. Stand-up guy. Probably the one time, though, that I was really mean is I was looking for parking in Pack Heights, and Pack Heights is horrible to park in. It's not as bad as Nob Hill, but it's one of the worst areas in the city to park in. And you'd circle, and you'd circle, and you'd circle, and eventually you got faster. You'd be going faster because you'd think to yourself, if I just go faster, I'll find when the guy gets out, I'll be the first person to him. And I'm going fast, and I'm looking left as I'm turning right. And I hear, hey! Someone slams his hand on my hood as I come to a break. And just 2 dudes walking their dog, I almost ran over. And I was like, how dare these guys be in front of my car? How dare they not look before they walk off of a sidewalk in San Francisco? And I'm thinking this as it's coming out of my mouth. I'm actually screaming this at these guys. How dare you? Why are you gotta look where you're going, bro. This is a city. People are driving here. And the guy's like, I'm walking. We have the right of way. And he was walking his dog. What I didn't realize was that his dog had just shit. And he had picked it up. And he had a bag of it.
Oh,
and he
no.
literally was so pissed because they were walking. And his significant other was pulling him. Like, don't do this with this dog. Don't do this. And this one guy, he was just like, I'm walking my dog. I'm with my husband. This is not like, this is ridiculous. And I'm screaming because I don't want to back down from this, even though everything in my brain is telling me stop. My heart's like, no, kill. And so the guy literally takes the bag. It was wrapped, thankfully, and throws it into my car, and it almost hits my face. And they walk off, and I tear off, and I drive around, and I see a parking spot, and I'm like, I gotta go apologize to these guys. I literally kept driving until I found they were walking down Pine Street, and so and Pine Street was the other way, so I had to go all the way back around, and I came in and I pulled up on it, and the guy was like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm really sorry about that. I'm having a bad day, and I apologize, and I'm looking for parking, and it just kind of made it worse." And the guy's like, "I have a car too. Don't worry about it."
See, that's a good moment.
It's really cool that you came. And the guy was like, "I really appreciate that you came back." And I'm like, "I just want you to know, like, it's Sunday. I didn't want to ruin your night. I apologize." And the guy's like, "Cool."
You get out and you're like, "Let's hug it out," and then like, "Just kidding, dog shit."
No, the guy was. And I believe I'm not mistaken. I think the guy was like, "I'm sorry for throwing shit at you," and I'm like, "I deserved it." I'm like, "You were right to do that."
See, that's the good way, because that was my whole thing. Is like we all, even though you were wrong to yell at them, right? They should be You've been in that situation on both sides of that before.
Both sides of it.
Exactly, right. And usually it's like, what an asshole. Like, well, that person's having that something else is happening there, but like, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I'm used to the guy that gets pissed. And I normally have an exorbitant amount of patience. It just, once that patience fills up.
Once you're gone?
I'm not like you. See, Colin, you're different than me. Like, it's a big bucket. I will have as much patience when people don't say thank you for opening the door. I'm like, whatever, they're having a bad day or they're focused on something else. I don't worry about it. But then I'll build. It's totally unhealthy.
Yeah, you got to let it out.
And I'm just like, it'll hit. It spills over.
Yeah, not that I don't have those spillover moments where I was thinking. I just had a funny story when I was back on Long Island for Christmas. I think I was taking Long Island Railroad to Brooklyn to see Ramon.
Yes,
Ramon Navarez.
Ramon.
And
I still have yet to see a picture of this mystical creature.
I can show you him. And I was walking out of the train I was at Atlantic Terminal, right by Barclays Center, where the Nets play and the Islanders will play. And I was, I noticed that this older gentleman was like walking out at the same, like, kind of shoulder to shoulder with me. So I stopped and I was like, you can go ahead, And he just like looked at me and then like walked ahead of me, and I was like, oh, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so much." Like that. Like,
he turns around on you,
giving it back.
And I was like, "All right,
like,
yeah,
touche."
Because usually, like you say, you're bold because you don't expect anyone to do it until they get out of their car or they challenge you, and then you get that feeling, like, oh shit.
Oh, I'm the
and not that the old man was gonna fight me or whatever, but
you just laid him out.
But I'll just say, like, just to our listeners, I laid him the fuck out right in Brooklyn that day.
And Tim's dad came in and just started kicking the shit out of him.
Tim's dad was in Brooklyn.
Just dropping elbows.
But I will say this to our listeners, because I was talking about, fighting, quarreling, and all this kind of stuff, this tough guy bullshit or whatever. The one piece of advice I'll give you is to kind of be the master of your own destiny. What I mean by that is, like, the times that I got roughed up by people, like really roughed up, including I got a concussion in a fight, was when I was in 11th grade, was like, don't let your stupid idiot friends
drag you into
their bullshit. Let
me ask you this. Wait,
yeah.
Was there ever a time that you got into that situation that in your heart you didn't get yourself into?
Yeah, I mean,
by virtue of just being around the people, like when you went out, you're like, I shouldn't be here. I know I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I was in those situations, and it wasn't even that my friends were bad. Like, when I think about those people that I was with in those situations, one's a cop now, one's a doctor. There's a lawyer in there, and like all these, like, they're totally, but like for some reason we were just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like a violent or angry person. I didn't want to have beef with anyone. That's why I got along with everybody, and I got along with the football players. I got along with the lacrosse players. I got along with the nerds and the jocks and the whatever, and like just like by virtue of just being around these people in their stupid situations, fighting with people at parties or whatever. It's like, well, he's with them, and so now I'm gonna punch him in his face. I'm like, what the? And then you like have to just be like, well, I gotta stick up for my boy, but I'm not. I don't want to. And then before you know it, like two guys are on you, and your 16-year-old Colin's getting fucking kicked on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, by the time I got to college, I went to college when I was 17, like many people do. Like, I had learned those lessons, and didn't get involved in those situations unless obviously my own neck was on the line, which it rarely was, or I had my friends back me up. My big friends, where someone was really getting fucked with, like our like that time where my girlfriend was getting fucked with by this guy, and we stepped in. But like all these stupid situations, just keep yourself out of these stupid situations. It has nothing to do with you. Like, I never did anything in those situations to like have that happen to me, and yet there I was.
I've been in a number of them, and without fail, if you know you're at fault, apologize. Because every single time I've done that, the guy I thought was this like unstoppable force of power and craziness was always like, oh yeah, thanks, no problem. Like, I appreciate that. So always be the bigger man, always.
Yeah, being the bigger man is important. Understanding when you're wrong is important. It's funny you talk about Alex. I had a thing with Alex once too, and I emailed him and apologized like right after that. I apologize to people when I feel
he sent back a JPEG of a fist.
Yeah,
You were like trying
here's
to
a
hit on
digital
your
fist,
screen,
bro.
but
And
it wouldn't work.
Because people that don't know me well, like I think I come off as curt or brash to a lot of people, which is fine. But I'm like I'm there to like do.
I like to think of you as brazen.
Brazen. I'm there. It's a good descriptor. I'm there to like do a job. I have my tolerance for bullshit is like zero. I have like basically zero tolerance for bullshit.
Yeah.
And like I'll give it to you if you give me bullshit. And
You've given me shit before.
a
little bit. We've gotten into it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's fun.
Because I don't like I feel like I hate when my time's wasted. I'm like a really punctual person. I feel like, right? You tell me to be somewhere at 12, I'm there at 12. Oh
my God.
I hate when
you're the
meetings start
worst
10
about that. You're the worst about one time we're in the studio. Can I tell this story?
Okay. Yeah.
It was you too. I think.
But
You were about. We were getting ready, and the call time was like, it must have been like 2:30, and Colin's there on the dot 2:30. He's sitting there. Typical IGN video. Something goes wrong in the studio. I can't get one of the monitors to work. So I'm trying to figure it out, and Colin is just sniping the entire time. He's like, "Tell you what, should have told me to show up at 2:40. It's 2:40 right now. 2:41, Scarpino," and just was like chipping away at it. And I'm like, he doesn't care. He's just doing it discreet with you on general principle. I'll never forget that. That's one of it's very endearing stuff.
I just hate that. Like when people, there was a Huffington Post story about this actually, like an article someone wrote where they're like, why doesn't anyone respect time anymore? Like you tell someone like, meet me for lunch at 12:30. Don't get there at fucking 12:50. Like, and I understand like things break and things happen, but I try to respect people's time. I'm not saying you didn't that time. Obviously, we're dealing with technology and it's broken. But I just feel like generally there's like a disrespect in terms of like time and like people's time and punctuality and stuff like that. And I try to be punctual. I try to say I'm a man of my word. I really stand by that. I do what I say I'm gonna do. It's really important to me. That's why I had to cancel on Podcast Beyond yesterday because I had told someone last week I was gonna go to lunch with them. And even though Andrew Goldfarb is one of the most important things to me in San Francisco, I had to go to lunch with this guy. That's just the way it is. I told him I was going to do it, and I told Greg that after the fact. Like, so there has to be an order of operations to these things. I really believe in those principles, but don't let them get those principles like drag you down into the muck.
Admit when you're
at the same time. I don't know. That's it. Let's wrap it up.
One of my favorite books is The Count of Monte Cristo, and he has a great concept of time. The concept of like if you show up on time, you're late. Always show up 15 minutes early. It's in The Count of Monte Cristo. He has this great saying where he's like, I show up on time. You tell me to be at a place at 1 o'clock. I am at your doorstep at 1 o'clock on the dot. And it's, for him, it was a whole different thing. But I always try to subscribe to that. I never try to show up really early because I think that's rude. But I show up.
Yeah, early.
I try to show up on time. Like, you want me there at 1? I'm there at 1. Dependable. It's weird. And I'm always late. Always. the only because of that, I am always late.
The only exception to the time rule is parties. If someone's like, the party starts at 9, I'm going to get there at 10:30.
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of the beast, right? Like, you don't want to be...
You don't want everyone to show up at the same time. They can't get through the door.
You don't want to be that's a very logistical problem.
Load-bearing things that you have to take into consideration.
But other than that, like, I respect it. I hate having my time wasted. I hate doctors and dentists that waste your time, that don't start on time, that that stuff bothers me. So I just try to do unto others as it were.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Game Over Greggy show. Every week, 4 best friends gather around this table, come with random topics to talk it out for your amusement. We post the high-quality MP3 on GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com. Every Friday, you can buy it for $1. But if you want it for free, you can get it at GameOverGreggy.com or YouTube.com/GameOverGreggy. That's where the YouTube video goes live for free.
Tim's opening up the cookies.
Tim's opening up the cookies if you're listening at home. We did not get lost in a firestorm of electricity and sexual energy. Thank you all for joining us. Until next time. Not nearly enough Tim Allen references in this episode.